pillow surfing. Also, this pillow looks like it's going pretty slow, yet Mario and Luigi's caps are still blowing. And that also makes me realize, how do Mario and Luigi's hats stay on throughout all of their adventures? Not only that, but even if they were moving fast enough for their hats to be blowing, they're just standing right on this pillow with no handrails. In other words, they'd fall off. Okay, I'll stop stalling. That's this game's job. I call lies on this size comparison between this hot air balloon and Peach's castle. Just look, the balloon basket is as big as the second floor in the castle. The fact that they effortlessly managed to line up the balloon with this castle window that wasn't there before this game. This balloon's driver is a jerk for Luigi. This side of this balloon is unprotected, so if it goes out of control, someone in here could easily fall and die. This attack is so cheap to avoid at this point of the game. I mean, not that it really matters since you can't die in this fight, but still. The suspense theme in the Mario and Luigi RPGs gets less and less dramatic as they go on. In Superstar Saga, it actually sounded pretty intimidating while still sounding kinda comedic. In Partners in Time, it wasn't as intense, but still sounded like a song that plays when all heck breaks loose. In Bowser's Inside Story, it barely sounded intense at all, and the second half of it sounded bright and cheerful. And this one's all like, let's party! Can't imagine how much less threatening it could get than that. Perhaps I spoke too soon. How are they not falling out with the balloon going like this? After going out of control, it landed where they wanted to land anyway. They paid too much lip service to Bowser's Inside Story as opposed to its two predecessors. You can finally save wherever you want. 124 seconds of this tutorial. How stupid do you think I am? Did flipping his head upside down somehow make the dark aura appear? I know this game has the same composer, but Break It Pillow Castle ripped off Monochrome Dreams from Kingdom Hearts 2. Didn't Klonoa have a section like this? 96 seconds of forced tutorial. For some reason, I love this Goomba formation. Why did they just disappear? That doesn't really look like a rock. Shut up, Starlo! We don't want to hear your stupid tutorials. Most of us played this game's predecessors. Now here's 30 cents for all this game's forced tutorials. Nothing's wrong with Luigi. He's just asleep, you moldy peach-brained dolt. Peach, I know you're so stupid that you make Patrick Star look like Albert Einstein, but why would you ever get close to something like that? Luigi's dreams have really dull color schemes. Dream Drop Distance came out a year before and felt much more dreamlike than this. You spend like 70% of the game in the dream world. Mario, did Luigi dream you to be stupid? Why are you surprised Luigi's in his own dream? Dreamy Luigi? That's the best name they could come up with. Why isn't Tasma shooting coins in addition to fireballs? Well, we got out, but Peach is still trapped in Luigi's head. Do they not realize how disturbing this is? They felt this bridge shattering, yet they stay on because this game needs to be as long as possible. Mario? Peach was trapped in Luigi's dream, not yours. Even if we can get back into Luigi's head, what happens to Peach if she's in a dream that ends? Does she get dreamed out of existence? Can she only come back if Luigi has the exact same dream again? Don't do that! You could wake Luigi up and erase us from existence. What do you mean, how can we sleep at a time like this? It's the only way to find Peach. Is your memory that terrible? Jolo acts like talking in your sleep is abnormal. It's not uncommon. If she thinks that's unnatural, wait until she sees someone sleepwalking. Oh boy! They said this will create some wind power. This is gonna be so awesome! What? Oh, come on! Also, that gets jarring. This song is arguably the best song of the whole game. Just how beautiful it is makes me want to take off Sins with no questions asked. Pilate, overly strict boss cliche. You don't say! We have to hit the crack side? Do you think we're stupid? Why doesn't this toad just run north or south to escape these storms? These rocks shouldn't be this easily breakable. Also, our skulls are definitely broken. One of us isn't so good with a hammer, so neither of us can go through? I'm sick of the Shaw always being the first brothers move we get. The last command's timing's awkward. How is this an instance of don't cry over spilled stardust? I'd say this is a big deal. Finally! A Mario Underground theme that isn't a remix of the original. They're in a deep underground cavern, yet there's no added darkness on them. Even the shading on the bear in Mr. Gregor's Bear Chase video was more believable. I ordinarily wouldn't complain, except this is the same system that had good shading in Superstar Saga 3D. Who designs water control devices like a slots game? A piece falling from this high didn't destroy Grobot. I'm surprised the piece wasn't on fire. Character acts like he knows who someone famous is, but then realizes he has no idea cliche. Water doesn't bounce like that. Great, it's the Mario Galaxy Star Bunnies all over again. Luigi looks at Mario's butt. Game supports the common lie that bunnies love carrots, even though carrots kill bunnies. When you kill these Dreamcap's leaders, they just sit there and let you kill them. Great idea, disguise yourself as a carrot. That won't make the bunny try to eat you. I've said this before, but pointing out how overdone it is for Peach to get kidnapped doesn't make it less annoying. LeafGreen might not be as wise as he looks if he thinks these two are kids. This was LeafGreen's buddy? Then why was it trying to stop us from freeing LeafGreen? I guess Bowser's probably needed in every Mario RPG, but believe it or not, this game would be so much better without him. And you'll find out why later in this video. This game reminds us that Mario was a jerk to Luigi in some of his past adventures. How did Bowser get here so quickly? Why is Starlo smiling when Luigi's crying like this? Starlo's terrible! I highly doubt Bowser's more evil than Phantasma. How is falling asleep in a dream dangerous? Is it because it's like Dreamception or something? You can't be killed by your own dreams. If you were really sorry for making us worry, you'd stop getting kidnapped. This is your kingdom we have to save. Why don't you give us most of the rewards now? Isn't your kingdom's safety a bit more important? It takes 4 hours to actually begin the adventure here. Look, I think this game is decent, but if you were playing Superstar Saga, you would already be past Chocohawk Woods by now. This song's nice, but it also sounds somewhat like a ripoff of Beachside Dreaming from Bowser's Inside Story, which in itself was already a ripoff of Boylan's theme from Pokemon Ranger Shadows of Almia. Is it even legal to charge that much for badges? This is funny, but it also teaches kids that if you keep doing that, you'll be able to get stuff for free. Game misleads people into thinking you'll get some kind of scaffolding that lets you climb sand slopes even though you never do. Whack-a-sand do. These platforms happen to be here so we can escape.
Yahoo! Yahoo! Yeah!
The other Luigi noids have a delayed reaction so this can work. Not all of the stars. You can see other stars, unless they're helicopters like in the movie Madagascar. Overstrict boss cliche twice in a row. What good is it for this man to keep hammering the sand like that? Brita's hiring us without our permission. Not allowing us to enter Dozing Sands unless we have jobs here? You're the worst! Brita just said she knows this desert inside and out, yet she hasn't seen the top of this sand flow. This person is letting inexperienced people use these drills. How does this not break the station or the drill? Why can't Luigi wait until Brita's gone, then lay down? Turning Luigi's nose doesn't make it sneeze like it did before. I would have never guessed we needed you as the hammer to break this chunk. I'm tired of the Fireflower move in the Mario and Luigi RPGs for doing the same thing every time. But this one's timing so awkward that I actually preferred the old one. Corkscrew survives this. Luigi's acting was horrible when crying Mario's name. And the game still has the stupid feature where the brothers carry each other's unconscious bodies when avoiding attacks. What reason do they have for doing that other than making dodging so frustrating? This one attack is hard to dodge. I seriously can't tell if the song's supposed to be sad or not, since most of it's actually pretty sad, but a lot of times it plays in moments that are dramatic for the sake of humor. The joke was kind of funny the first time. Don't run it into the ground. It gets predictable. That's facial hair is. Also, neither of them have beards. Hey, duds! I know you're selfish, but this entire kingdom is in danger. Shouldn't just taking a minute to tell us be a little more important than your selfish needs? Oh, let me guess what you're going to say. Of course. Seriously, it's not funny anymore. It's predictable yet still infuriating whenever he repeats it. Pushing this box while condensed like this should be next to impossible. Trollstone. Us? Annoying? Look who's talking! Don't get used to these giant battles. They're awesome at first, but the battle ring might make you hate them. The hammer does less damage overall than the jump. What's a Mario RPG without, you guessed it, rapid input sequences? Oh goody! We get gyroscope controls added to the mix too! Great, more padding as we have to take a 2.5 hour long detour before we can climb Mount Pajama Jaw. Things that should be 30 minutes long are extended to like 2 hours. They drag things out about as much as the songs in the Christmas Story musical. I love this song, but it rips off Spagonia's hub theme from Sonic Unleashed. Breaking and entering. Actually, they asked for it by not having doors. Kylie Koopa is this game's only throwback to Partners in Time. Oh, that just hurts. She can't remember us. That's terrible. Why did they do this? Maybe they are trying to erase Partners in Time from the Mario continuity. Popple's return was so disappointing. His grudge against us was hilarious, but now he doesn't even recognize us. The fact that this pipe is hidden in such an obvious way is just insulting to our intelligence. How did Luigi fit that shell in his hat? His hat must have storing properties almost as good as Peach's dress. Dreamy Waypoint Repose must be a rejected Sonic Colors song. This Toad didn't notice this convenient button. Nice flip phone that no one uses anymore. Heavy Zest is as good a jumper as Mario, and yet he's not a worldwide phenomenon like Mario. He's even more forgotten than Luigi. Mass Manslaughter. This Angry Birds parody reminds me that I should re-download Angry Birds Seasons because it doesn't have filler like this. The fact that this Snorlax ripoff heals throughout the fight only hides the fact that he literally can't attack you. Stop asking if I admit defeat. I'm winning this fight. How did he fit into that small disguise? He makes his minions carry these heavy boulders all the way out here just so he can show off. This attack's hard to dodge. No matter how much time you take, it's still 4:35 after all that running around, as if this is a Polar Express movie. This song kind of gives me a vibe from the Girl Worth Fighting For song from Mulan, reminding me how much more entertaining that movie is compared to this game. How is traveling with them a mistake? We're doing this to save the world! Some tour this is if we keep getting separated. These monoliths do look strong, but could they be strong enough to lift that many rocks above their head like this? Everyone survives this. Awesome shot though. You're kidding, right? You'd abandon us if we couldn't find a way out? Jerks. Why are Megaphil and Megalo so small in the dream world? The fact that these guys' feet were able to break through solid rock like a toothpick. I gotta say, this is a pretty awesome change of scenery. 2 minutes of this admittedly pretty funny dream sequence. I don't see why we can't break through these ice chunks with the Drill Brothers move if that can break through solid rock somehow. Mamoshka's huge rock throwing attack is so hard to dodge. Now we just destroyed this mountain's guardian. Character wants to give up, but then finds out they've already accomplished their goal cliche. I remember first playing this game back in 2013. I was at this point and I thought this game was almost over. I was like, I don't want this amazing game to end anytime soon. Little did I know that in about a week, I'd be wanting it to end already. This is another reason Dream Team would have been better without Bowser. Because Bowser already claimed the world so Phantasma can't conquer it. This super creepy spell comes in the form of pop music. Dreambird could handle Phantasma himself? Then why couldn't he just help us in battle earlier? All it takes is a bit of yelling at Mario for him to snap out of a sleep that's really hard to wake up from. This isn't as repetitive as it was in Bowser's Inside Story, so I'll take off a sip. Trampoline jelly. How is the snow still intact when it's surrounded by lava? Heck, some of the snow is in lava. So we should cause something intense enough to wake up Luigi. This game predicted Inside Out.
Hello, Tyrannosaurus Alan. I'll have you for breakfast.
Are these supposed to be lava rocks or Cheeto balls? Convenient volcano appears right here so that you can take advantage of it. Seeing this boss actually phase through the rock columns like this actually makes me feel physically uncomfortable. This game nearly reaches Super Paper Mario levels of constantly reminding me of better games. Now they just remind us of Mario Kart 7 with the name Neo Bowser Castle, which reminds me of Neo Bowser City. I like this song, but it's an outright ripoff of Sweet Surfer from Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga. Oh no. Please tell me this creepy character isn't back. No, we're not admirers. You mean hide Peach inside Luigi's mind? That's still disturbing. And mind you, there's still a chance he might dream her out of existence. Can you please say that in a way that doesn't sound like a sexual innuendo? So this is one of the 7 wonders, along with a bag that moves by itself, and the stairs that count up and down differently, and the ghost train, and the wall that shoots balls out of it, and oh wait, wrong game. The game that's much better than this, mind you. And then this bridge raises like this, while the water in the lower part of the sand somehow gets drained too. I highly doubt Peach will be fine on her own. Are they seriously throwing Goombas at us at this point of the game? All of these cutscenes go on for some time. Cool mechanic with the whole turning them upside down to change the direction of gravity, but sleeping in the opposite direction doesn't do that. He's still sleeping normally. It's not like he's sleeping like a possum. Don't explain the joke to us, because that ruins the joke. The bomb derby makes such dumb sounds. Nice puzzle, but making the ball fall takes longer than it needs to. They even managed to make raining fire on these opponents look lame. Bravo, game. Bravo. A little bit ago, Peach warned us about dangers ahead, but now it turns out this isn't actually Peach, but actually Kamek in disguise. So why did he warn us of the dangers? Then again, this is the same guy who kept blabbing out the boss's weak points in the Yoshi's Island games. What is with the Mario and Luigi RPG series and having other characters in Peach's dress? I mean, we had Luigi dress up as Peach at the end of Joke's End in Superstar Saga, we have Fofo statues with Peach's dress, and now this. Did Kamek just pull these guys out of his Peach dress? Someone please get me a barf bag! You're having mostly Goombas? What, are Corporal Paraplunk and Surgeon Guy chopped liver? Peach got kidnapped by Bowser yet again. Of course. And this also means the last 3 hours were a complete waste of time. Why does Broke Madame have a picture of Dr. Snoozemore taped to her back? Discount Hookshot. Why are they prolonging the game even more? I'll admit, I love the game's first half, but the second half really drags it down. You know what? How about I have 30 cents for all the pointless padding? There is no way they did that without breaking any bones or suffering from brain trauma. The move even looks disturbing. How did these guys get up here this quickly? Is there an invisible ski lift that they could have let us use this whole time? I love fighting the viruses in this game, and they're even more fun than they were in Superstar Saga. But wouldn't it be smarter for them to stand away from each other so they don't have to die from being lined up? How could the Massive Brothers not know how to solve this puzzle? They're the ones who came up with the technique. Yeah, no. The Massive Brothers really wanted the treasure for themselves, but then they decided to just let us have it. Britta is still an unlikable jerk. You looked our way and didn't see us? You just blamed your employees for this. Now you're blaming the wall? Bandits are annoying. Luigi is a jerk for leaving Mario trapped in the sand. Grobot's water attacks were cooler than Grobot X's jelly attacks. Discount Deku Mask. This is basically the equivalent of manslaughter. Important thing waits for character to be confused as to why it isn't working before it finally starts working cliche. Now that the Fly Guys stole the jellyfish seeds, Mario and Luigi make no effort to try to get them back until Dreambird talks to them. This is the second Mario and Luigi game in a row where someone says, if this certain thing happens, there will literally be no hope left for this world. And just like in Bowser's Inside Story with Dark Bowser, there's a way out of it here. I understand conditions, but your entire kingdom's in danger. Just tell us where they went. For all you know, by the time we beat this minigame the second time, the Fly Guys might be gone from where you saw them. These stupid Fly Guys stay in our reach. What are you doing? The sheets are right there. Don't go past them. Don't show them that you have them. Why did they ruin Popple? He wasn't stupid in Superstar Saga. Another Wiggler boss fight. Seriously, didn't these guys used to be normal enemies? Popple throwing you at Wiggler during the chase attack and hindering your jumping makes me really mad. I completely agree. Why did we have to get involved in this? Pelipper's parents must have been obsessed with Pelipper. These crumbishes look like they're fused with the talking toilet from Captain Underpants. The Luiginary Wall? Thanks for reminding us of Trump. So many bosses in this game call us bad mustaches. Well, at least our heroes don't say, I guess we really are bad mustaches, later in the game, which would have supported the common terrible moral that when people say bad things about you, they must be right. Earthquake is a jerk to these houses' owners. Luigi caused a mass genocide on Dream People by knocking Earthquake into these houses. Luigi knocks Earthquake away instead of continuing to smack him into the water until the fight's over, so this can still be a challenge. What's the point of this armor if it's way too easy to break? The creators wasted too much time making his hammer attack either make you bounce it back both ways, or to hammer and or avoid it. Huge waste of programming, and ducking's nowhere near as satisfying. If Earthquake's too weak to dodge this stupid and unnecessary finishing star move, how can he still float? Why do we need this bedsmith to put all the Ultra-Bed pieces together? Can't we just get some normal bed maker? Would putting it together be that much different than putting together a normal bed? Expecting people to understand what the heck he just said. Poisonous Bubble Tennis. The fan ability makes Mario a discount Spider-Man. It's not very appropriate to say that. These Skyward Sword Magma rejects understand that the kingdom is at stake, but they won't let us save it until we play some game with them. It feels so humiliating getting owned by these gold beanies. I see they needed Palladium to protect this dream point, but couldn't they just have him scan whether we're good or bad? The skateboard requires insane timing. I like the idea of Mario and Luigi leaving these plant things behind where they walk, but what does this game think it is? Okami? Wow, I can't believe how many better games I was able to list off in this video. This is one gigantic tree. What is this, Click Clack Woods? These Pellicrumps, are huge jerks to their unborn children. The Luiginary Tornado, this game's strongest Luiginary move, is also the most likely to deceive you into thinking you did it wrong with how some Luigis come off. Just like in so many other forms of media, this game doesn't know how eggs work. When we broke the egg open, the Z-Keeper shouldn't come out, it should just be a bunch of messy Z-Keeper yolk. The statues of this guy throughout the game depicted him being much skinnier with 3 eyes. Upskirt, or do I mean up feather shot? How do I word this? The fact that a human is able to keep up with a bird. He does a terrible job telegraphing whether he's flying high or low. This will make the fight with him in the boss rush very irritating. Is it strange that the Z-Keeper actually looks more majestic when dazed and confused than he does normally? If the Z-Keeper can tear voids in the fabric of time, why are we a match for this creature? This is one of the worst examples of gyroscope controls, since you might not go in the direction you're tilting the 3DS into. And we haven't even gotten to the part where it's at its worst yet. I know the Z-Keeper was much, much bigger than that in battle. Super awesome seeming guy turns out to not be all that impressive after all cliche. Seriously, this is literally one of the oldest twists in the book that even a 3-year-old could see coming. Unless of course you just didn't think about it. I'm not saying you're stupid if you didn't guess, you know what I mean. Mr. Z-Keeper, I know you're retired and all, but do you not understand that the fate of the world is at stake? Dreambird is a huge jerk to Mario and Luigi. In-flight snacks? You're too big to ride a plane. I mean, yeah, 80 million coins sounds like a lot, but if Mario and Luigi still have those 99,999,999,999,999 mushroom coins they got back in Superstar Saga, that's like over 1,000 times as much as they'd have to pay. So I'm not sure that would be a heavy price. If we couldn't just wake up Luigi to get him out of here, I'd say that Mario is being almost as much of a jerk to Luigi as he was at the end of New Super Mario Bros. Wii. Is it me, or was this ripped from Pokemon Ranger Guardian signs? Also, everyone survives the fall. Something as big as Neo Bowser's Castle Landing would have created massive tidal waves that would endanger everyone's lives, but it doesn't leave any ripples when it lands. If you're trading for the battle ring, get ready to see these same enemies over and over and over again. This castle has 10 Bowser-based enemies and only 2 Phantasma-based ones. Further proof that Bowser overshadows Phantasma. This attack's impossible to dodge. Spinies are underwhelming for the game's last level. Does Kamek really think we'll fall for that trick twice? We fight Kamek 3 times! Discount PlayStation buttons. Kamek just reminded us of how much better Gabe the Dog memes are than this finale. These chumps are jerks to their owners. This rising lava doesn't flow through this door. I hate the third Kamek fight. Did Starlo not see this giant force field? The final dream has almost no enemies. Why are you worried about Bowser dying here? It's just a dream. Bowser takes too long to dunk Luigi in the lava, allowing us to escape. I hate the Spear Guy attack. There's literally no way to prevent damage. Stop the chowdown? That sounds idiotic. The way Bowser says, "There!" like that also seems dumb. How can Luigi spin this fast for this long? This is the worst part of the battle. You'll keep getting hit by a glitch that will keep pulling you into the lava. 10 cents here. This is the biggest insult this game gives to the possibility of Phantasma being this game's villain. Instead of this awesome Bat King of Nightmares, this game's villain is the same one we've had for 90% of the games we've had in the past 30 years. I'm giving 5 cents for that. This epic fight between these longtime rivals is them ramming into each other. Now they have Phantasma eat glass balls in this epic fight. Well, I guess it's not as bad as something else that's going to happen soon. How can a spiderweb support the weight of a human? Bowser Jr. is this game's optional super boss. Forget about swordsmen who want to become gods, champions from previous regions, and giant dragons that were sealed away in a pit 100 floors into the earth. This brat is our super boss. Using his Koopa clown car against him is so satisfying. Peach could do that this whole time. Now she has even less of an excuse to get kidnapped. And they have Bowser absorb the Dreamstone's power anyway. I was gonna remove Sins for having Peach finally do something useful, but now they just murdered that. Seriously? You can't lift someone this heavy? Dreambird could heal us this whole time. He made us waste so many items when he could have been donating those to help solve world hunger. Now that Bowser has the Dreamstone's power, he can just wish Mario and Luigi out of existence, but instead he decides not to. I would have taken off 5 cents for this legendary final boss theme, but they had to waste it on this terrible final boss. Not only is it unfair, but the way he shields his head doesn't look like how one would defend himself in the climatic final battle. He has a move where he flips a coin which doesn't belong in a fight like this, and he completely ruins all suspense by having an all-you-can-eat buffet in the middle of the fight. I know that's how he heals. That's not an excuse to ruin this epic climax. So for having a final boss this insulting and wasting this awesome theme on it, congratulations game. Now I get to add 5 cents instead of removing them. Game ruins an intense escape scene with this Panic wannabe music. I'm glad the Zkeeper decided not to make us pay after all, but that doesn't make me any less mad at Dreambird. So instead of the Dreamstone, we have this new Dream Coin thing or something, I don't know. This ending really confuses me. Can everyone still dream? Yay! Coin cushions for everyone! Solo saying let it go reminds me that I'd much rather be watching Frozen than playing this game. Yeah, our true vacation starts now, at least until Peach gets kidnapped a few seconds later. I think it's about time Mario dumps Peach because he's way too good for her. Okay, it's kind of nice seeing Bowser actually say his minions did decent. Bowser, even though I don't hate you as much as I did when I made my hated characters revision, it's stuff like this that was the reason I did hate you that much. Credits theme is a medley of songs that played throughout the game cliche. Guess the Massive Brothers weren't important enough to be in this group photo. Oh, shut up! After every menu transition it stops to load? Yeah, we're off to a good start. What? I can't hear you over the loud music. Even Sonic Adventure 2 had subtitles in every scene. These graphics aged horribly.
Hello, SpongeBob. We haven't met.
You know, unless you count the old Jimmy Neutron's Nicktoons Blast attraction at the Universal Studios where he mistook me for a jellyfish and tried to catch me.
I've been gathering information about your world, and I dealt with him before.
Which is my way of saying, I've been spying on you. Plankton waited 45 seconds before asking again.
Gary, stand guard and don't let them in.
He's a snail. What's he gonna do? They don't even make a joke about that.
Wow, he can talk?
Compared to all the crazy stuff Danny's seen in the Ghost Zone, this is nothing.
Where SpongeBob comes from, all sea creatures can talk.
Except Gary, the jellyfish, etc. Who's the main protagonist here? I guess we should assume they share the spotlight, but Jimmy's the leader, and his lab's kind of the hub area. But in some countries, it's called SpongeBob and Friends Unite, implying SpongeBob is the protagonist. And Danny and Timmy are there.
This all started with my latest invention, the Universe Portal Machine.
That's the lousiest name you've given us since Funny Chip.
He's found an ally in each world,
Who all happen to be your arch enemies. What are the odds?
and they're stealing energy from each of your worlds.
And they conveniently require ghost energy, fairy magic, and jellyfish electricity.
We've lost our powers because of this syndicate.
Excuse me, then what did you use to poof into the room? Aren't fairies supposed to keep their existence a secret? I understand Jimmy, he thinks they're holograms. With SpongeBob, I guess some Fairly Odd Parents episodes imply that it only applies to humans, but what about Danny? Why do fairies go away forever anyway if they're exposed? Jurgen wipes everyone's memories of fairies when taking them away, so what's the big deal? Heck, some episodes imply he does this even if it's not the God Kid's fault. Is this box moving by itself? Guess we have 2 box ghosts in this loading screen.
All you need to do is join me, and I will let them go.
Villain convinces hero to do something bad in exchange for someone he loves, cliche. Vlad's shots completely miss, yet we still get knocked out by them. Okay, Walker, I don't care what changes you've made to this place. The show clearly states that in the Ghost Zone, humans are what ghosts are to the real world. And they've even stated that humans can walk through walls here. This prison shouldn't be able to hold us. The Box Ghost model looks so much different than his sprite. Why is the Box Ghost offering to help us? And how did he do this? The show stated that he's pretty pathetic. The attacks don't sync up with the button pressing correctly. Timmy starts out with a unique ability while the others just have basic starting moves? That's fair. Nice throwback to the Prisoners of Love episode. Are you telling me they still haven't had that giant chicken leg removed from the wall after all this time? And do we have to watch every episode to understand these? Game made me think for the longest time that overshadow always means to possess someone. Hold on, Danny can possess other ghosts now? Pretty faulty design for this wall since it actually lowers when jumped over. I guess we don't need ramps if our models just hover over them. This boss is pretty annoying for a first boss, mainly because of the spare recall system. Speaking of which, it's possible to run out of lives even if you don't get hit because everyone shares lives.
If this is a ghost zone, they must have been ghosts!
You've seen ghosts several times on your adventures. You should recognize them. But I guess that's what Nickelodeon does. Bends logic to make jokes.
You have access to another ghost portal?
This is the closest we get to confirmation in this game that Jack and Maddie are Denny's parents. And how did you not know this? You've been spying on these guys.
The Fenton family are the ghost technology wizards, not me.
And now it feels like they're convincing us that they weren't his parents. I mean, I guess we're supposed to assume they are, but the show straight up states that they're his parents. So why does this have to subtly imply it?
The Fittons? Are they the freaky couple Vlad had trapped in his throne room?
Are you some kind of psychic?
This is no time to be studying.
Cosmo just randomly pops in so we can get that line. I know technically Cosmo and Wanda are with Timmy, but where were their dialogue in nearly every other level of the game? Not only do Tucker and Sam not have any voice actors in this game, we don't even hear their names. That zombie on the zombie counter looks more like some kind of sad clown. Jimmy is a huge jerk to whoever owns his car. For some reason, I'm not that big on this song. This computer store doesn't have a single chair in it. Timmy is a master at changing clothes in less than a second. SpongeBob's back looks like it's broken. Will a car driving through a brick wall even go this far into the building? There don't look like any ways the kids can get up to the slide unless they climb the outside of the part with the tire swing, except it's easy for them to fall off that and hurt themselves. Hey, where is everybody? Are the zombies the only people in Amity Park? Was everyone else killed? How did this one get onto this truck? We can actually violate these graves and get money out of them. Why do the villains leave these new powers for us in their lairs? SpongeBob's face whenever he soaks up water. How did Vlad get his hands on the purple back gorilla? This castle has some nice rooms and some that are a complete dump. Who cleans this place? Jerk move, not giving us a big enough hint on how to break this generator. We have to freeze the main one, then attack the little ones. And they couldn't make that a bit more clear. Trollish placement. Were there actually 2 purple-back gorillas, even though the show established that there was only one? Or did that one somehow manage to slip past us? Because we really need to see its butt. Dang, this game is a lot glitchier than I remember. I mean, I don't exactly remember it being a masterpiece, but wow! It would take a miracle for this game to get an HD remake like Battle for Bikini Bottom did. So Danny gets the ability to phase out and then possess enemies before he gets the ability to phase out. Do I have that right? What even is this animal on the wall?
Go and go!
I hope you're prepared to hear the characters constantly say the same lines whenever you select certain moves. It gets really grating. How about I just give an estimated guess of how many times you have to hear them? Also, you were already in ghost form even before you used that move. And did they completely forget his ghostly laser? I'm not asking for every power, just the ones that make sense. Vlad easily sent us to the ghost zone on our first encounter with him, so he could have easily done that again. Why not this time?
With the help of the Syndicate, I'll soon have it up and running again, and we've already harnessed enough ghost energy for our device.
Are you telling me that shutting down his portal was a complete waste of time? Also, why would he even give us a hint of what they're planning?
I'm not gonna stand here and let you treat them like puppets.
Now, excuse me as I use him as a puppet to beat you. And if that's the joke they're going for, then that's not clear enough, and it isn't even that funny. It sure is lucky that Jack just happened to have the ghost gauntlets on him when he was kidnapped. Also, compared to the rest of this game, this boss is not that hard. Where was Maddie Fenton during this boss fight? Wouldn't it make more sense to possess her to fight Vlad? Because she's much more competent than Jack.
This is far from over. Far, far from over.
By that he means only a few hours.
That mean old Vlad escaped.
Why are you smiling right after saying that?
Let's get out of here before they notice us.
Or, you know, you could just turn human. You do realize you're only half ghost, right?
But I was hoping to learn more about their ghost hunting technology.
This is not
Trust
the
me,
time for
ghost
that.
hunters
Can't
and
this
ghost
wait until
boys don't
after
mix.
we've saved all
Besides,
worlds?
Everyone, keep chewing your neutronic air gum.
You waited until we were down here to tell us? Also, how long will it last?
A surprise birthday party for me! Surprise!
You've got on backwards. Is it not they're supposed to jump out and surprise you?
Surprise.
That's definitely hilarious. But why are these Doomsday Troopers the only ones capable of speech? This boss health meter is just stupid. It'll confuse people into thinking we're fighting Sandy even though we're following her. Nickelodeon can't decide where the Krusty Krab is. Most of the time it's to the right from SpongeBob's house. Other times it's to the left. And now it's behind his house and farther from his house than it's ever been. Most jellyfish weren't this big. Bridge collapses after someone crosses it, cliche. Since when were there acid pits in Bikini Bottom? And we learned that this game's knowledge on bubbles is as good as the Jabu Jabu's belly level's knowledge on bubbles. Plankton peppers are kind of annoying to deal with. Who lives in the building this tiny? I didn't know we were playing Pikmin. Maybe this song should be called Nicktoons Unite. Was this water from the Lake of Life from Pokémon Forever? There's no way it would revive dead flowers in an instant. Even though we had to take the long way around, we still managed to catch up to Sandy. How do these bridges keep on breaking? These hopping clams are a headache to deal with. Sandy somehow caught up with us. Sandy wants us to find people to help stop Plankton, but they do nothing. Aside from being dumb how Doodlebob's helping us, we almost never use his power-up. Why exactly are enemies lured towards Doodlebob? I never got that. Underwater waterfall. Danny looks dumb the way he's floating like this. Besides, why doesn't he just fly for real? We've seen him do it hundreds of times in the show. This face is only used once in the whole game.
Do we have any secret agents? You're smart, kid.
Then just wait until you see the F's on his report card.
His code name is Agent Star.
A SpongeBob character named Agent Star? Whoever could that be?
I wonder who it could be.
I know SpongeBob's not very bright, but how could he not recognize his own best friend? Danny, the way you say the sooner we stop them harvesting jellyfish, that's just poor literacy right there. I don't remember a tunnel between Bikini Bottom and Jellyfish Fields. I mean, I remember there being caves here, but not one connecting the town to here. The ground just changes to grass with no transition. How did Patrick move that fast? Also, why would Sandy trust Patrick with the task of being a secret agent?
Patrick, no!
Why are SpongeBob's friends smiling? I never knew shrink rays just lowered machines instead of shrinking them. Also, these guys are the easiest bosses in the whole game. What the? There was a puddle inside the jellyfish harvester. The song United and Come On This Way sound almost exactly the same, so it's almost impossible to tell the difference. Interesting satchel of Kevin the Sea Cucumber, but are you saying that no one tore it down after it was revealed that he was a fraud? The Flying Dutchman has no voice actor either. None of these ghost sailors who are the Dutchman's old crew are Lord Poltergeist from Ghoul Fools, which admittedly wouldn't be out for another 6 years, but nothing says I can't sin it. Their ships just happen to be at this ship graveyard so that they could be easier to find. What is this house doing all the way out in the middle of the ship graveyard? We helped the Flying Dutchman get his crew back, but he goes back to not having them in Ghost House. This stuff is floating in midair. Lucky that the Dutchman's ship just happens to go low enough to open this door. Or did he somehow know we wanted to go through here? His ship goes behind a flower cloud. And why is the chum bucket at the end of Jellyfish Fields anyway, instead of across from the Krusty Krab like normal? I do not think the Happy Bikini Bottom theme fits in this evil factory. So I guess Plankton isn't stealing real jellyfish, just paper cutouts of jellyfish, right? Patrick is very lucky that this was made in season 4 and not a couple seasons later, otherwise I'd want to leave him trapped. We freeze this jellyfish's cage, but the jellyfish inside is still moving? This is not a bad escort mission, but why does Patrick even need to take the upper pathway anyway? We could just help him get down. Honestly, that generator noise in the background is actually pretty grating. Is this conveyor belt made out of thin air? Because how are we falling through it? Jellyfish abuse on top of jellyfish abuse. We don't even need to jump on them. We can just have Danny float over them. Yeah, there's no way we could ever destroy that machine that easily. And even though Patrick's right next to it, when it explodes, he doesn't get hurt. Look, even the moving jellyfish are just sprites moving up and down with no proper animation. Even this towel isn't solid despite looking solid. How does this even come out of it? The hole is way too small. If they can have an invisible wall here, why don't they have them in many other places? Plankton also hooks his doors to the wheels we turn to free the jellyfish. Plankton couldn't even have these jellyfish be locked up. I feel like these pink spots on the floor are supposed to be jelly, but it looks more like gum. They couldn't even animate splashing in acid. This lack of polish is something I'd expect from Sonic 06. Is Karen frozen? Plankton probably froze Karen for being a Karen. Plankton's Labrador looks kinda unmoving today. Yes, I know, limitations. Game decides to rip off the bums from Zelda. Mr. Krabs is being held by the money in his pockets? Does he superglue his money to his pockets? I guess that makes sense for Mr. Krabs to do, but I'm still saying it.
No, Mr. Krabs! Don't tell him!
You've worked for Mr. Krabs for 6 years. You should know that it takes much more than that for him to surrender the formula.
Plankton, you've gone too far this time.
That stupid dancing you did definitely shows how appalled you are with someone going too far. And then the game completely forgets about Mr. Krabs, so I guess we should just assume that our heroes left him there until his next appearance in SpongeBob Tentacle Pants. Also, you have to watch that cutscene every time you lose. This is a problem with the text box cutscenes too, but this cutscene could have easily been made skippable, but they didn't. So I'm just gonna double the sins I added in that cutscene. His robot's shaped like his arch enemy? This isn't imitation Krabs. I didn't realize this, but this game sure loves to have bosses stop to take a break from the fight to summon enemies.
Well, Plankton, what would your mother think now?
You couldn't even wait until the cutscene actually started before having that line.
I'll help people from now on and devote my life to being good.
In a few seconds, we're going to learn that he's lying. But this lie becomes more obvious if you've seen the SpongeBob episodes that came out after this game.
And you, SpongeBob, falling for the line about my mother?
Well, what did you expect from him?
Patrick, where did you come from?
Game sends itself. How did Patrick just fall out of the sky? Also, how is the dome Plankton's in not smashed?
You may have stopped my plans, but the Syndicate is still getting energy from Dimsdale.
No, it's draining energy from Fairy World.
We will soon have enough energy to finish the Doomsday machine.
I thought Vlad made a bad move, but now Plankton just outright blabs out their plan.
Nothing can stop the Syndicate! Nothing!
Nothing can stop us, cliche. Villain's Lair has their head on the front, cliche.
This doesn't look good!
Why are you smiling? Seriously, these kinds of cutscenes have been able to show the right facial expression before and after. Crocker's Fortress is the closest we have to an actual Dimsdale level, and it's one that was in one episode. And that means no AJ, Chester, Vicky, or Jimmy's parents, despite being major characters in the show. Why is one of Jimmy's powers football gear? The closest to that I can think of in the show was his baseball equipment in the Retroville 9 episode, and that was with baseball, not football. We got a cutscene to get introduced to these generic enemies we've already seen several times. Also, even though we're in Crocker's Evil Fortress, someone thought it would be a good idea to have the songs that play in this level be happy music. In multiplayer, you have to have the others completely huddled against the edge of the platform in order to pull this lever. This game went to the Toy Story 2 PS1 school of having everything be conveniently placed so we can reach the stuff we want to reach. Getting this Doomsday Trooper onto the Switch is kind of frustrating. Did Fairy World get renamed Fairy Town? We're going to different rooms in the fortress-like dungeon to bring things back to this room to continue. This room is almost as much of a discount Wind Waker Tower of the Gods as Hooktail's Castle. Cool shot, but how does squirting these parts with water cause these huge water pillars to come out? And now enemies emerge from coffins. Now this level is a discount of 2 Wind Waker dungeons. I couldn't find footage, but if you fall off here, it's possible to get stuck in an endless loop where you keep falling into the hole till you get game over. I'm adding 10 cents for that. Notice how SpongeBob and Danny don't have any lines in this level. If I didn't know any better, I'd say this game is starting to run out of ideas.
3, 2, was that 3, 2, 1, go? Or just 3, 2?
Stalling.
Wow!
SpongeBob and Danny each have only 3 lines in this world, and one of each is them just gasping and also being shared.
At last, some help!
But why do you bring puny children instead of mighty heroes?
Jorgen kinda has a point. If we're saving our world, we're gonna need all the help we can get, like Wolf, Sandy, and some others. Or is that stupid secret order from the Kingdom Hearts series also present here?
Big things often come in small packages. Ask Wanda.
Wanda
What are you
isn't offended
saying?
by this, even though she usually is. Why did Jorgen capitalize the word human? I don't remember any fairies looking like that. Not to mention, it looks kinda creepy. I could have sworn the ghostly well was the strongest attack in the game, but I recently learned that it's weaker than the punch and drains your power really quickly. And it doesn't even sound like what it did in the show.
Thank you, children. Free at last.
All these fairies have the same voice. Did the game's designers just copy-paste this part of the level like 4 times in a row? Where do you even have to stand to hit this star switch? We just caused a bit of destruction. Kinda dumb that Timmy's only ability in his own world is the only one that's optional to use.
Hope you all feel better after this.
What potato did they use to record that line? What's the point of this tower? The fairies don't even do anything to help us stop Cracker. This part is a lot of fun, but if you fall down, you keep respawning back here. Why isn't this Doomsday Trooper bouncing on the cloud like we are? I don't remember an area like this in Fairy World. If your characters fall off in multiplayer mode, this part is just abysmal. This door teases you. Since we use the Ghostly Whale ability a lot in this world, you'd expect you'd need it, but it's broken with the Bubble Bomb instead.
Let's get up there and stop him.
It takes until now to give Danny a solo line in this world. Yes, Fairly Odd Parents only has 3 levels, while the previous 2 had 4. Maybe they are running out of ideas.
What's a fairy?
Not only does SpongeBob only have 3 lines in this world, they're barely even plot relevant. Also, SpongeBob spent the past half hour in Fairy World and heard the word fairy be used multiple times here, but he's still unfamiliar with them. His attacks aren't even hitting Crocker, yet they still damage him. Heck, even some close-range attacks can hurt him. Also, even though his suit can protect him from fairy magic, he can still get hit by Timmy's Starflinger. How come the generators are only vulnerable when Cracker's sent flying? We don't even get a Cracker's protecting them explanation. Even though I'm being a real jerk to this game, this song is absolutely epic.
The Doomsday Machine is fully charged. You don't have a chance.
Cracker's a jerk, but he's right. Even if we knew where Calamitous' lab is, we'd never be able to reach it in the time it takes to push a button.
We must find Professor Calamitous before he uses that Doomsday Machine.
In other words, we're all doomed. Unless he decides to hold some 3 cheers for the destruction of all worlds party before setting it off, we can kiss our worlds goodbye.
Don't sweat it. I think I can fix everything now.
Which is why maybe we should have come here first.
I'm sorry, Timmy, but the rules say that you can only wish for changes to our world.
Which explains why he was able to wish Stretch's evil robot in quicksand, bring back Mark from Yugopotamia, and wish up an entire planet of dads.
Even Crocker is out of our reach for the moment.
After floating away like 20 feet.
Cindy, what are you doing in my lab?
That's a good question. Doesn't Jimmy's lab have a hair scanner that only lets boys in? Which is sexist, by the way. Also, why did she revert back to her movie design?
If something this bad happens, Nerdtrons is the first place to look.
I've always hated Cindy.
Hi, Cindy. Oh, hi, Timmy.
I like this throwback to the Jimmy Timmy Power Hour, but judging by the last quarter of the game, it seems like the developers just decided that all they needed to watch for the research about Jimmy Neutron was the movie, the Jimmy Timmy Power Hour, and a few episodes involving Professor Calamitous. Also, this is the most missable cutscene in the game. Normally when you return here, you don't get any cutscenes, but this time you do. And whenever you save after a world, then turn the game off, next time you load, it skips to Jimmy's lab segment. So it's easy for people to play through this game not even knowing this cutscene exists, even though this cutscene contains valuable story information. For committing one of the worst story-based crimes I've ever seen in a video game, here's 10 sins.
You're too late, Jimmy Neutron.
He said it, not me. Well, technically I did, but you get the point.
I think Goddard might need a bath. He looks like he has fleas.
That's it! That must be how Calamitous copied my plans for the Universe Portal Machine. He's spying on us through some kind of flea bot.
It's extremely convenient that we noticed this at this exact visit. Any earlier and we'd miss out on a world or two, making this game waste even more potential. If we noticed any later, we'd be dead.
If we can reach the device, we can track the signal back to Calamitous.
If we destroy it, how can we trace its signal?
We can shrink ourselves down with the shrink ray.
Why would you need to use that shrink ray if you have your own shrink ray with you?
According to the reading I took, the parasitic drains were strongest in the audio-visual center of the CPU. We'll need to make our way through Goddard's systems to get there. but there were minor drains everywhere, so they could be anywhere in his systems.
Expecting us to understand what the heck he just said. What are a pencil and Lego blocks doing here? I'm not a big fan of the 3 songs that play through this level, unless you count the boss themes. Maybe it's because I just recently survived sitting in the gruesome imagery of messing up Bowser's insides, but is that even okay for Goddard systems? They still don't know how bubbles work. Why does Goddard have platforms inside him anyway? And why does he have coins inside him? This is my least favorite level in the game because of its length and boring scenery. And if you think about it, this isn't even needed. They could have had Calamitous' lair in the same place as it was in the show and we would have avoided this level. When I first played this game, I had no idea why the heck we were even in here because of that missable cutscene I previously discussed. And I had no idea what the heck the game was talking about with some flea bot. I guess that doors that only let immune system robots in make sense, but they forgot to leave the others behind. Also, it's not as creative as the other puzzles we've faced up to this point. How is Goddard inside himself? These security clearance segments are the closest we get to an actual Retroville level. Timmy looks so scared in this picture, and they didn't even bother putting their text in caps lock there. And did a first grader write it? This boss is a complete nuisance. He keeps healing, which takes forever to stop if you're doing it in single player. And if you die, you must go through the longest level in the game again.
I've got the coordinates for Calamitous' lair.
Again, how can you trace a broken Fleabot signal? Yeah, there are only 2 Jimmy Neutron levels. It's official, the writers just gave up.
Retroville destruction will commence in 5 minutes and counting.
They said they destroy all worlds, not just the towns. Also, this boss fight can take about 20 minutes, and we still have some time.
We are quite safe inside this protective capsule.
Yeah, but is that really what you want? Even if they are strong enough, you'll just be floating in the middle of nowhere until you run out of oxygen and die. What is wrong with our heroes? We should be stopping the Doomsday device, but instead we're just disabling their defense system. This fight had some neat choices for the songs during its final fight, but they couldn't come up with an actually new song instead of just reusing songs from earlier. There's a cute smiley face next to the Doomsday device. That's not anticlimactic at all.
There are only 30 seconds left.
Yet SpongeBob unplugs his on 31.
No!
No, and that was horribly acted. Even the voice actors are tired of this game.
If anything like this happens again, we can work together to resolve it.
And it'll lead to sequels that I heard aren't better than this one. So unless someone brings up some good defensive arguments for them, don't expect me to send them.
Don't want to lose my job at the Krusty Krab.
Mr. Krabs would fire you after you saved his life?
Did we save him? Last time we saw him, he was being tortured, and then they forgot about him until now.
I can figure out what those phantasmal projections really were.
What phantasmal projections?
Vlad's not still in there, is he?
I borrowed your matter duplicator to make that copy.
Is that the one from Trouble with Clones? The defective one that makes the original cloned item disappear into thin air? Congratulations, Danny. You just killed off Vlad. I've heard some strange company names, but what kind of name is Blue Tongue Entertainment? We don't even get a proper transition back to the menu. Ah, the old days of YouTube. Back when 360p was acceptable. 21 seconds of these shots of Hyrule Temple. And if you include opening logos, that's 40 seconds total.
Today, I was invited to a Smash Brothers tournament. But I find it's weird that no one's here.
Of course not. You'll never find anyone standing in one place on the biggest stage in Melee aside from auto-scrolling stages. Killin' 7's lucky that Super 64 didn't just happen to turn around and see him sneaking up on him, or hear his incredibly loud footsteps. Also, I'm pretty sure Super 64 is at 0% damage right now since he just got here, so he wouldn't be sent flying right away. True, Bowser is powerful, but he didn't charge his smash attack, so it would take much more than that to send him flying in one hit.
Whoa, listen buddy.
Not the best idea to zoom in on LeafGreen when saying that, because for a second I thought that was him saying that. Speaking of which, it's never explained why LeafGreen doesn't say anything right away.
You little cretin. Now you're gonna get it. Plumber style.
Did you even try to loop the music better? Even I could loop it better in Windows Movie Maker. LeafGreen is knocked out in just 2 hits.
There's no such thing as tournaments.
I'm pretty sure you just made half your audience dumber by saying that, either by poisoning their minds or by loss of brain cells for hearing you say something that stupid.
Peeps just set them all up in servers so some noobs will come and be all like, when do we start? And then they get pwned by the host who's setting them up to land a cheap shot on them and bring up their rankings.
This has happened multiple times before? You're telling me that out of all the people that fell for that, none of them ever once happened to accidentally look behind them?
Good luck with that, noob.
This is literally the 3rd time you used that word in the last 30 seconds.
Where is he?
How do you know he's even still here?
Enemy, you do not belong on these grounds.
This is another thing that hasn't aged well in the series. Every once in a while, the acting stinks.
Listen, buddy. I'm looking for a guy that...
Dare question the hero of time?
All he said is he's looking for someone.
You do know you're not really Link, right?
Let's see, a character going as a beloved fictional hero and actually thinks he really is said hero. And even says, "Halt, who goes there?" before introducing himself. Ladies and gentlemen, we have ourselves an honest-to-goodness Buzz Lightyear ripoff. You seriously couldn't give us a more inspiring opening theme for this? The Smashtasm Brawl series has a much more exciting song, being a very inspiring remix of Brawl's theme. This, however, is a very boring remix of Melee's theme. You want to keep your viewers' interest, do you?
What are you doing?
What do you think I'm doing? I'm fighting you.
But we haven't set up the match rules yet.
Hey, you threw that first punch when you shot him with an arrow,
Yes,
so you're no better.
I get pushed around 3 times today, and now I have to take orders from a man wearing a skirt?
Making a joke about Link wearing a skirt cliché.
I've seen Hyrule. They don't wear skirts.
Are you telling me that all this time I've been the only one wearing a skirt?
Well, aside from the cokery.
How many items?
All of them.
All of them? You can't be serious.
I understand true Smash players don't need items, but I wouldn't say having all items turned on is something to get on someone's case for.
Any player of Super Smash Bros. Would know that the B attack is always the soggy projectile.
Except for Zelda, Marth, Captain Falcon, etc. Also, I definitely agree on the B projectile move being useless, but I could easily say the same about your arrows, which you even used earlier.
Hey, I thought you said a true warrior uses pure strength and not weapons. Well, isn't that a weapon?
It would have helped if you actually showed the hookshot to prove Super 64's point. But because Super 64 was right next to him, we couldn't see it.
It's my nemesis, the evil Ganondorf.
I could believe Buzz Link here would think that's the real Ganondorf, but we just saw that he knows how this world works, since he talked about match rules and uses projectile attacks, yet he thinks a random Ganondorf player is the real Ganondorf. This is just inconsistent intelligence.
I said thanks. It's nice to meet you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the only female character in the Melee series, and she's playing as a man. I don't mind girls playing as men, but when the only girl is playing as a man, that's a sin.
Hey Link, you just got owned by a chick!
Yeah, and you got owned by the guy who got owned by a chick, so what does that make you?
Link got totally owned by a chick!
Okay, it was funny the first time you said it. Don't run it into the ground.
I find that very offensive.
Did you not hear him the first time? Link was a farther distance away from him than you were, and he still heard him.
No time, no items.
Aw, no items.
Stop whining and fight.
I find this only use items logic offensive. Items are half the fun of playing Smash Bros. Because of all of their cool moves. And even if their spawn locations are random, the way they're used can make a big difference. The only items in Melee I can really say have a luck-based factor to them are the container items, hammer, cloaking device, maybe the mushroom, and Pokeball. As for the rest, they don't really make matches more luck-based unless one appears right next to you. Besides, sometimes items are the only way to win. Like if you're a close-range fighter like Captain Falcon going up against an expert Marth player who keeps using counter. In those instances, you'll need items to stand a chance even if you are an expert.
Don't take this too offensively, but you suck.
I take that very offensively.
Now you know how she felt about your sexist comment earlier.
So remember, kid, anytime he needs help, just call my name.
Here's the problem with LeafGreen's recordings. Sometimes it sounds like he left his TV on in the background. Even in my early days of using my mic, I did a better job at that.
LeafGreen never said that.
How would you know? You weren't even there. Sure, they do make a joke about that, but that's more so about how Link knew what Super 64 thought LeafGreen said, not how Link knew what LeafGreen actually said. Apparently, LeafGreen also found a hack that gives you supersonic hearing. I know foxes have good hearing, but he can hear him from literally on top of a plane.
Time's up, Mr. Toilet Man. Get it? Because you're a plumber?
Don't explain the joke. That would have been an actually pretty decent joke by toilet humor standards until you went ahead and ruined it.
P2? I thought Link was P2.
How the heck did you see that? I'm pretty sure no one ever pays attention to the player number signs.
Oh, don't worry. I took care of him.
Why couldn't you have just joined in as player 4? Or did you know that and just wanted to get rid of Link? If so, then that was pretty scummy of you. What did he do to deserve this? Other than being mildly annoying, I guess. Okay, he did attack Super 64 earlier, but I doubt LeafGreen knew that. This series shames Kirby.
They just hate it when someone that doesn't know how to speak English joins one of these servers.
That's racist.
Hey, you trying to slash my rep, noob?
Well, at least someone other than Super 64 is being called that. Both this episode and episode 8 are called The Confrontation. Did Shep even look over these titles?
7 stock, 3-minute time limit, few items.
Didn't you insult Super 64 for wanting to use items earlier and now you're turning items on? Sure, it's on few, but come on.
Holy crap! That was quite a battle.
Haha, it's funny because we didn't get to see it. Yeah, I don't get it either.
Yeah, I can't believe it ended in a tie.
I can believe a hacker versus pro battle would end in a tie, but did these two forget about sudden death matches? Also, are you telling me that Blackberry never once noticed that LeafGreen must have been using some sort of hacks in the battle?
Super 64 here fell for the old tournament scheme.
Ha! What a noob!
Why is this series so obsessed with that word? Look, I'm not one of those language Nazis who gets mad at people for swearing. I've been chatting with people online for over a year by the time I first came across this series, so I was kinda used to hearing swearing by then. But does this series just think that saying the N-word every single time they get the chance makes you look cool? Because it really doesn't. It actually does the exact opposite, and it doesn't prove that you're any better than him. This obviously fake laughter goes on for all the sometimes.
It's not that funny.
I agree, it really wasn't that funny. Let alone funny enough to have this stupid laughter scene that goes on for too long.
Oh my...
Shut up!
I know where you could probably catch him. He's most likely in a server called Ultimate Smash Tournament.
Blackberry seems to really hate Super 64, yet she's helping him do what he wants to do.
Idiots.
I'm glad she doesn't think that Super 64 is the only idiot here, but didn't she seem to respect LeafGreen after their battle? And now we have another 39 seconds of nothing but showing Great Bay. That's literally an entire loop of the song that plays on it.
Great Bay. This must be the place.
What are the odds that multiple people would be saying that almost word for word?
Booyah! Another one bites my dust.
Out of all the unimpressive voice acting in the project, Kill 7's is easily the worst.
That's right. I'm back to take my revenge. Hey, he got away.
He probably wouldn't have if he didn't make that speech about him not getting away.
But Super 64 was literally facing towards Kill 7 when making that speech, and I'm pretty sure that in Melee, Bowser does not have teleportation. Heck, I can barely think of any instances where Bowser's ever used teleportation. Well, now we have the story's true conflict, yet they decided to have most of it focused on the Super 64 versus Kill 7 plot.
Greg here used to be my partner.
Better rivals used to be best friends cliche.
Wait a minute. Are you about to tell a story?
It all started 2 months ago. Greg here used to be my partner.
Hold on.
Okay, now you're just stalling. Look, I do enjoy this series in spite of how harsh I'm being on it, but can you please get on with it already?
We can, use this power to pawn all the pros.
But it wouldn't be us that's good. It would be the hacks.
That's rich coming from the guy who used them in your fight against Blackberry. Sure, it ended in a tie, but I could easily say it wasn't you that's good. It was the hacks.
Greg, is you gonna use this for the evil?
He just said he's got evil intentions 25 seconds ago.
Hey, Leap Fox, I got the evil intentions.
This guy right here has hacks. He wants to ruin the server.
Oh, he does he? Thank you for reporting him, player. I shall see to it that he is banned.
Without any evidence? This admin's way too easily convinced. Also, the sequel would imply that all hackers get banned. So why isn't he also banning LeafGreen for being on a stage that he clearly can't access without hacks?
Just tries and stops me's, Leet. I's taught you everything yous knows.
Yet LeafGreen still wins this fight.
No!
No.
Or so we thought. Dun, dun, dun.
You know, that wasn't very funny.
That's not helping. That's doing the opposite of helping. What's the word for that?
Well, I never knew the opposite of helping was called hi.
And so, Link went on a great quest to get out of the Black Void.
Ah, it's on narration!
He traveled through the Forest Temple.
Cool Ocarina of Time parody, but now it looks like he successfully got out of the Black Void, meaning that by going on this journey, all he's accomplishing is getting stuck in it again.
Across the Fire Temple.
And he found a cheat code that let him skip the Great Deku Tree, Dodongo's Cavern, and Jabu Jabu's belly.
Against the Titan Fire Temple.
And all of its agony that's worse than any amount of Kirby taunting can do to you. Also, don't have the music overpower the voices.
And through the Shadow Temple.
Character goes on a long journey and ends up exactly where they started, cliche. And what we didn't see was the Ice Dungeon being played by Icicle Mountain, the Spirit Temple being played by Hyrule Temple, and Ganon's Castle being played by Brinstar Depths.
Did you just call me Lassie?
That's what we Scots call out helpless little girls.
Scots? I thought you said your name was Prince Rock.
Where in that sentence did he say his name's Scott?
Did you just call me Irish?
I don't know if Prince Rock's supposed to be a racist stereotype or not. I'm not one of those lunatics who assumes everything's racist. At least now I'm serious about it. But just in case.
I hate to interrupt what's probably going to be a long speech about how you're going to fight me, but I really have to get out of here.
So many of these fights start with, I don't want to fight you. Gets attacked. That's it, I'm fighting you. You're running dry with your ideas.
This is like a waste of time. The level 1 computer players are better than you.
Why is Super 64 the character everyone chooses to pick on? Sure, he's not a good fighter, but I could argue that a lot of characters in Smashtasm have something just as, if not even more embarrassing about them than he does. We even saw that one of our characters thinks he's a real video game character. Killer 7 is implied to be just as bad as Super 64, and very cowardly in addition to that. And even Prince Rock, the guy who's insulting Super 64 right now, can't tell Super 64's gender, and is kinda delusional, as we'll find out soon. And don't even get me started on Lamp. I guess in this universe, people don't judge you by your personality or intelligence, only by how good you are at some game.
If I'm so bad at this game, how did I beat you when we first met?
I wasn't really trying.
Especially since you started by just repeatedly spamming your side B.
You probably should get back to the fight with Prince Rock. By now, I'd say he's beating you sensitive with a sword.
I guess that's kinda funny, but how can he even think like that when he's being beaten up? Let alone think enough to have flashbacks, even if it is a fake flashback.
It's that blood off your wireframe, right there, behind you.
So the admins in this world are wireframes, but wireframes are still enemies? Well, that's kinda confusing.
I don't really know how to exit servers.
Then how did you get to Great Bay?
No more!
It was kind of a jerkish move of Link to attack one of them, but did they really not expect him to react like this? They've been taunting him endlessly for who knows how long. Did they really not expect him to snap like this at any point? I'd have thought they wanted him to snap like this.
This is my dog. I can't really go down there.
I can barely hear you over the loud music.
Let's take a look inside. Oh yeah, I forgot. I can't go inside neither.
Well, that's kind of dark, implying he has no shelter from cold weather. Then again, he does deserve shelter.
This is a friend of mine.
Really? You seemed to see him as just an idiot a few minutes ago. Now all of a sudden you're friends?
For the play.
Missed opportunity for Super 64 to comment on how silly that sounds. Earlier we saw the reason Super 64 couldn't see the wireframe was because it left when Super 64 turned to look at it, but now it's revealed that the reason he couldn't see it was because Prince Rock only imagined it.
I remember a long time ago when that one magazine came out with that rumor that you could unlock Sonic and Tails.
Turn down the volume of Prince Rock's grunts. I can barely hear what's being said. Also, by leaving out the fact that the magazine was an April Fool's joke, you could easily give someone the wrong impression that Sakurai is a huge jerk who falsely advertised characters who aren't in the game. Also, if it makes Prince Rock feel better, he just has to wait a few more months to unlock Sonic and Brawl. As for Tails, only time will tell if he ever gets in. 36 seconds of this Kirby gesture sequence.
You're not good, you just keep using that cheap beat down move.
So in other words, he's basically the same Pikachu player that I once was. Also, have you tried challenging him to a single button melee where he can't use special attacks? Granted, single button melee is stupid, but it would really help you here.
But if you lose, I'll get your password. If I have that, I can log in as you and do things that I wouldn't normally do. Your account would be mine.
What a horrible person! I've seen some people find this character annoying, but I'm honestly more bothered by how much of a horrible scumbag he is.
Hey, you want this info, don't you?
It's not worth it. Try asking Prince Rock for ideas of what you can do for him like you were going to do earlier. Don't agree to it, Super 64. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Fine, I'll do it.
Ugh, this is hopeless. I see Super 64 getting hit by that bonsai bill as you fade out. Didn't think I'd notice you being off by a few frames, did you? Chip decides to end this part off by rickrolling the audience.
Hyrule Temple. This must be the place.
Wait, now I'm getting Samus Rule 63 imagery.
Who are you talking to?
What? I don't recall doing that.
And there's that stereotype of all idiots having southern accents, which is honestly a pretty offensive stereotype.
His name is Lamp.
Lamp?
Yep, Lamp.
Yep, Lamp.
That's his name? Lamp?
This goes on for some time.
Alright, Super 64. I'd say that you've wasted enough time.
You were part of that stupid joke about Lamp's name too, and if that hypocrisy is a joke, the sin's for not being funny. I'm guessing this blue Zelda player is his girlfriend, and if so, then it's kinda cute that he has a girlfriend, but what does she see in this insult to Pikachu's?
Did I say that you could talk?
Well, no, but I...
Is this making a joke about abusive relationships? Because I think this is making a joke about abusive relationships.
I don't need this. You don't own me.
Super 64 is not wrong. Lamp, despite taking very few hits, is knocked out by this bomb.
You'll pay for that cheap shot.
How is that a cheap shot? Because you use an item? You have just as much access to items, so stop whining.
Here's your dismay.
Lamp, despite his stupidity, knows the word dismay.
End of the line. You've got one stock left, and this is a dead end.
Why doesn't Super 64 just jump back up and over Lamp? Or attack him while he's monologuing? Also, I checked, and Mario was able to do the Hyrule jump in Melee, albeit barely, but still possible. Link and Kirby's Ex Machina. Link somehow escaped the Black Void again.
No!
No, these Kirbys are just walking while chasing Link. This was pretty funny, but I seriously have no idea what I'm supposed to be feeling. I don't know if I should feel relieved that Super 64 doesn't have to give up his password, or disappointed that he won unfairly. This is one of the reasons episode 8 is hands down the worst Smashtasm episode.
Can't believe you actually did it, yo.
Despite being very condescending, he accepts Super 64's win as a win, even though he won through means that aren't much better than cheating. Seeing Killer 7 ambush these players makes me wonder what they do after they get tricked. Do they also spend their time plotting revenge on Killer 7 like how Super 64 does? And here we are, back at Hyrule Temple again, after we've spent almost the entirety of the first 4 parts and almost the entirety of this part here already. That's almost half the entire season! Is there no love for Pokefloats? Are you telling me that Super 64 just risks losing his account for nothing? LeafGreen kicked Super 64 out to prevent the game from crashing during their hack battle, but had their first battle be without hacks anyway.
We'd find 2 really bad players, train them with our hacks, and pit them against each other. So 2 were chosen. Killer 7 and you.
Super 64 isn't offended at being called a bad player.
If I has let you get your revenge, you'd has no reason to fight him now.
That's no excuse. You stopped him from doing what he almost lost his password trying to do. Doesn't help that having them fight was your idea. I'm sorry, this makes me really mad. Just had 20 cents before I lose my sanity. You know what I realized while planning this video? How many subplots this has? The Super 64 versus Killer 7 plot, Killer 7's trolling, LeafGreen and Greg's rivalry, Link thinking he's a real Link and trying to escape, and Prince Rock seeing wireframes. I don't really mind this, I just thought it would be fun to point out, okay?
This can't be the end!
Can you actually die in this world? I'd have thought in Smash Brothers these situations would be a KO at worst.
Kirby's retreat!
Explain. It's like running away, but manlier.
But seriously, why do they have to retreat? Because he lost his crown? They're still obeying.
We'll be back!
Nope, still haven't returned.
Hi.
Yay!
Jeez, what's his problem?
The next user to appear at Jungle James happened to be another Kirby player who's not associated with King Kirby, so this joke could work.
Hello, Grasshopper.
Master refers to their student by the name Grasshopper Cliché.
Just as I thought. You are a noob.
Alright, I get it!
Also, as much as I can't stand characters getting constantly picked on, most underdog stories like this at least say these characters aren't as stupid as everyone thinks. That's clearly not the case here. Judging by how this repeatedly shames Super 64 for this, it's basically saying it's okay to bully inexperienced players. That's a horrible thing to teach people, even if this is a comedy.
You must learn to resist intimidation.
Ooh, I'm Super 64. I'm a total noob. I need items to win games.
Series continues with needless thought on items.
I don't understand how this is helping me.
Honestly, me neither. How will ignoring trolls help him win battles? Is there some joke I'm missing?
Now hit it as hard as you can with the bat. Are you retarded?
First Link rips off Buzz Lightyear, now Mew0 is ripping off Master Shifu. What's that? This episode released 4 months before Kung Fu Panda? Well, now I feel weird.
You are ready.
Ready because you beat up the troll that I told you to ignore.
The losers of this battle is banned, both the hacker and his player.
What?
What?
Gotta side with Super 64 and Killer 7. They never sign up for that. Why not just have the losers get banned part only apply to you and Greg? Why do you need to drag the players into that? Sure, Killer 7 would deserve it, but Super 64 wouldn't.
LeafGreen, are you crazy?
I'm convinced he is.
I believe in you.
Do you really mean that, LeafGreen?
Oh, not really.
I know that's supposed to be funny on some level, but it just makes LeafGreen look like a terrible friend.
Wow.
Also, if you don't actually believe he can win, maybe you should have thought of that before betting everything on this battle.
Now gets out there and win, because if you don't, we're all doomed.
Yeah, but does that include Killer 7? I guess things won't end well for him whether he wins or loses. Not that he wouldn't deserve that. Or will Greg decide to give Killer 7 immunity from that or something? Also, I'm pretty sure more than half the Smash communities migrated to Brawl by this point, since this episode aired 2 months after Brawl. Would they still be affected?
1 hack each.
Why did you need Super 64 and Killer 7 for that? You could have easily had the 1 hack for each side thing with both of you guys too. If your 1 hack per side rule was your answer to preventing the game from freezing, you didn't need to drag 2 other players into this, and you especially didn't need to stop Super 64 from doing what he bet his account trying to do. I'm sorry, I still can't let that go.
I'm invincible.
Good thing this fight isn't in Brawl, otherwise he literally would be. Speaking of which, a user once did a Brawl version as to what the Melee series would look like in Brawl. I wonder what happened to that. Did he delete it for some reason?
All yours' moves is souped up.
Yeah, but you said this would be even better than Giga Bowser, but the only things you changed were the fireballs and cape. The other moves look the same to me. It was stated that this is a 4-stock battle, now it's a 1-stock. This final battle is awesome. The background is a black hole background. The background is a space background. I'm guessing that's because when it transitions to the snowy mountain background, it caused the game to freeze because of 2 players using hacks during it, but I can't be certain. Obvious fake out cliffhanger is obvious.
How could he have lost?
You literally just said you don't actually believe in him. Greg's charge attack takes an awfully long time to charge up, so Super 64 can use his cape to get back on the stage and KO Killer 7 just in time.
If the cape could propel me forward, the super cape could no doubt get me back on the stage. Or better yet, set me up for the perfect surprise attack.
You can tell it's a surprise attack by how Killer 7, Lead Fox, and Greg don't hear the sound Mario makes when he uses his cape.
I isn't jumping off the stage for no one.
Villain refuses it under the bargain cliche.
Paul always has more power over yous.
I've always been better than you cliche.
What could you possibly do to stop me?
Wow, 3 cliches back to back. Now you have the character said something but is instantly proven wrong cliche. Others ex machina. They think that if they have this guy playing a small part in stopping Greg, they'll make me forget that this guy is still a terrible, terrible person for making Super 64 bet his password earlier.
All have helped you on your quest, and all will help you finish it.
Except for Lamp, who was more of an obstacle than anything. And then Blackberry, for whatever reason, completely disappears from this part after helping to stop Greg. Seriously, she's the only character here who doesn't appear again in this episode after attacking him. I'm guessing it's because this part was made after the time her voice actor's computer broke down, so she couldn't record any more lines in this part, but he could have at least had her be on screen during the finale instead of having her just completely disappear altogether. Speaking of which, it really is a shame that we couldn't get more lines from her, especially since it really would have been nice seeing her grow to respect him more.
I can count to 5.
And we're even going to give you an entire short based on that.
Word. Sack.
Please, shut up.
What?
I almost didn't bring you here because of this. Do you even realize how annoying that is?
I'm still more bothered by him forcing Super 64 to bet his password earlier.
Hate the player, dog. Not the game.
What does that have to do with MuZero's claim about you being annoying? Lead Fox is a jerk to Prince Rock for no explained reason.
Why not?
Sounds gay.
Ah, the old days. Back when people could use the word gay to say that something's stupid, and they'd be seen as cool for saying that. Chip forgot to credit Melee's soundtrack in the credits. Hold on, Killer 7's still in his Giga Bowser form? After not only did the match end, but after he was banned? 66 seconds of logos and menus. 6-pound Plankton weighed that switch down. First joke aside, why doesn't Karen remind him to flip the switch? She's an egg, so why not?
Another perfect day playing robots and racehorses. Wouldn't it be great if we had real robots to play with?
Oh, the racehorses chop liver?
Then we say the magic wishing words and shake the magic wishing shell.
You had to say it in a way that sounds like something from Barney.
Aren't we going to say the magic wishing words?
You already did!
So, okay is the magic wishing word?
It could be anything you said, but sure. That must have been a series of convenient things to make it look like the show actually worked. If you press the home button during cutscenes, they start lagging. They wish for robots on the same day Plankton created evil robots so they could blame themselves. I'm glad they improved how characters express themselves like normal cutscenes so they're not smiling when they're upset anymore.
So much for fixing this quietly.
Did you think they wouldn't notice the entire town was attacked? This ringer inspired one of the worst SpongeBob episodes. The door transition was cooler in the first game. Who liked SpongeBob inside his own house? I love the attention to detail they added to the backgrounds.
Trying to steal the Krabby Patty formula again.
I'm surprised you guessed this, considering you're always gullible enough to think Plankton's your friend after he tried to steal the formula 100 times.
They even bent all my spoons.
Sabrina would like these robots.
If you can get me back into the chum bucket, I'll give you a bucket full of golden spatulas. In your dreams.
Probably unintended foreshadowing.
This flapping robot crisis is making the Krusty Krab lose money like a sinking ship.
Darn it, they couldn't get Clancy Brown to voice Mr. Krabs like normal? Why did they double the amount of shiny objects you have to give him?
You're going to need to learn some new bubble-blowing moves if you're going to journey to the 9th dimension and defeat the giant monkey man.
I want to see SpongeBob and Patrick go on an adventure to slay the giant monkey man. It's been 21 years already. The 9th Dimensionian suffered long enough. I think I preferred when we got introduced to more tikis as the game went on as opposed to seeing them all now. A habitat for wild jellyfish is taxi accessible. Did the robots and jellyfish decide to abandon Squidward after zapping him?
I guess you're off to scale Spork Mountain and die a horrible death.
Remember, he's doing this for you.
I'll bring back that king jellyfish jelly for you to rub all over yourself.
Ew. Let's hope the garbage man doesn't take these boxes away. Is it just me, or is SpongeBob slightly slower in this remake? I miss when we didn't get stuck with loading screens whenever we died, and when it didn't reset the music. Is this canon slaughtering Mrs. Puff's family? The butt jokes were never really funny. If this wreck's teetering, it could break off at any moment.
What?
If they can have Mermaid Man without Ernest Borgnine's voice, that defeats the purpose of removing Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy from the show. Sand licking. This is supposedly the first real battle in the game, but it's possible to beat without hitting a single robot. Patrick seems perfectly safe from the robots from where he is. If anything, raising these platforms would make it easier for them to reach him. And if that's a joke, they don't make that clear. Patrick gives us a spatula, then we're automatically switching to him, so he gets our reward. These teeter-totters conveniently have Patrick's image on them, as if whoever built it somehow knew only Patrick could use them. Game rips off Crash Bandicoot with the wooden, explosive, and seemingly unbreakable boxes.
The rock is talking to me. Almighty Rock, I am at your command.
While this game's humor isn't quite as good as you'd expect from SpongeBob, it still does have a decent amount of good jokes, this one included.
I was in an undesirable position yesterday, and now my neck hurts.
Funny, but you have no neck. That moment when you realize this cave's pretty much a glorified tutorial, and the whole stack of watermelon on top of another one thing isn't going to be done again in this game. The freezy fruit doesn't cause it to snow anymore. I know that was illogical, but this is a bigger sin than that.
That monster has been stinging all my good customers in their poop decks.
What the heck was King Jellyfish doing at the Krusty Krab? Discount Beaker from the Muppets.
Can I get a cookie?
No. No need to be so rude about it. These cork platforms or whatever aren't being pushed down the river. Do you really think we want to see this thing give birth on screen? He left his water on and it's draining way too quickly.
This is why I don't go outside.
Except for work.
We have to evacuate!
Can we just load them up in the boats?
Or just leave the town on foot. The Chewbots don't get any introductions like the other robots do. Cute detail with the word hi being written in flowers. This anchovy survives this. Lucky that this didn't drop on the anchovy. Cool scene. How did Gary get up there, let alone push something that heavy? Where did the robots get all this hot sauce? Where did that boat come from? And how is it not falling over when positioned like this? Someone has a button that closes their window outside their house.
This door is locked from the inside. Who would do such a thing?
This is what I meant when I said this game's jokes aren't quite up to standard for SpongeBob. But at least we can teach children that people who stay safe are bad. Mr. Krabs is actually asking SpongeBob to go on the hooks that he told him to stay away from.
Why would I want to break the tikis, Mr. Krabs?
For the same reason you've been breaking them throughout the entire game. For one reason or another, some jerk decided that this door should take us back to the beginning of the town. Gary seems to be granting SpongeBob some kind of eagle eyes if he can show SpongeBob the entire town just like that.
Uh-oh, more robots.
I feel like that's supposed to be one of the reasons SpongeBob will need Sandy's help, but SpongeBob's handled robots up to this point. I mean, yeah, the gaps are impossible to cross without Sandy's help, but the robots? Can spinning your lasso like this even help Sandy glide across gaps? These buildings have been knocked over, meaning that these robots are worse than we thought, since they actually caused mass genocide.
And I can't do all those fancy moves you and SpongeBob do to get across these gaps.
Considering how good you are at staying in shape, that's honestly surprising that you can't jump that far.
So what are you gonna do with the old antenna?
It's yours if you replace it with a new one.
Gee, thanks. I'm pretty sure SpongeBob is the only one in town who wears these kinds of pants. So why are his pants being hung on this clothesline? Debbie doesn't hear this torpedo. This level means a great deal of nostalgia for me.
Claps for messing with Texas.
Sandy would not do well with trolls. This reminder's kinda obvious. Sandy, the toughest one of the 3 playable characters, can't even press switches on the ground. Don't you dare tell me these stupid morons decided the floor shouldn't collapse like puzzle pieces anymore. Darn it!
Goo Lagoon. A sun-drenched beach of sludge.
Whatever happened to a stinky mud puddle? SpongeBob, despite not being very strong, can flip this wooden platform really quickly. Now I'm curious to know what each of these buttons on the Monsoon Robot's remote do. Where's Billy running to? Is he running into a wall?
That robot is out on the island. Nobody can get to him.
How did he even get out there in the first place?
Maybe you can use those sun reflectors to point the sun's rays on that robot.
Yeah, but I don't think that'll get everyone's sunscreen back. The people aren't freaking out that their towels are floating in the air. And they couldn't even have them fly up from the sand anymore. You know what? I'll just add 10 cents right now for every instance of the animators being completely lazy compared to in the original game. I'm glad that we sent the rescued children all the way back here instead of potentially knocking them into the water, drowning them like in the original.
I heard that you were collecting golden spatulas.
Have you been living under Patrick's rock? You've known that ever since we started our journey.
We were having a sandcastle contest, and somebody put a golden spatula on the top.
No, they put it near the top. They put a sock on the top.
Water rising, must get to higher ground.
The fact that this line isn't quoted enough. These steel cannons are easily destroyed by your simple bubble wand. This meme's honestly overused. Well, at least it's not as overused as the Patrick That's Up meme. Where are their cave drawings anyway? Are you saying they didn't fade away in the millions of years they've been up? There's no way to get into the ticket booth. How did this robot get in? We're told that our objective is to defeat the robot in the ticket booth, but the name of the quest is clear out the bumper boats, which spoils what we're really doing in this mission. And destroying the robot and ticket booth somehow causes the whole platform to crack, makes these platforms come out of here, and causes the Ferris wheel on the other platform to sink. Then again, I guess I should expect as much of someone as cheap as Mr. Krabs seems to run this place. Even after we destroyed the ticket booth, Mr. Krabs still trusts Patrick with this task. Going into the skee ball machine kills you. I'm disappointed that the battle theme doesn't play in this segment. I don't think heat would make robots explode quite that fast. This trampoline launches you to the exact point where you can talk to Larry.
I've got nerves of steel and muscles of sand.
Muscles of sand? What?
My Poseidon has been breached.
Can't you handle it? You're a god. These falling sparks don't hurt us.
Patrick, we're not playing.
How can a sponge crack his knuckles?
Cry all you want, but not here. We just wax the floors. SpongeBob, I'm your friend, right?
Not really.
But you always stupidly trust him. SpongeBob forgot his water helmet. This straight-up face is actually kind of creepy. These robots burst through and made an awfully small leak. How does Sandy cover up this leak while she's out fighting robots?
I got a treehouse chock full of robots and it's all your fault.
You seriously believe these robots were caused by us using some plastic shell? Also, the wishing shell was Patrick's idea. I've always wondered what this time limit is for. Is it because SpongeBob will dry up? Because the time limit disappears after you beat the robots. SpongeBob barely looks like he's laughing. I mean, you walked up to an evil robot and tapped him on the back. What did you think would happen? Weren't the question marks in the bathrooms reversed?
The robots have stolen priceless artwork from the museum. If you can return it all to me, I'll reward you with a golden spatula.
Why do you want all that artwork?
This game literally just sinned itself. It's implying that Mrs. Puff is actually an attempted art thief. Then again, this is a character who would be driven to the point of trying to get SpongeBob killed 9 years later. Nice throwback, but the bus was leaving, not entering. I'm just surprised they even kept the reference in. Also, these bus drivers are still jerks to SpongeBob even after 3 years. I'm going to send these sleepy times for the amount of anxiety they caused me as a kid. Bubble Buddy shouldn't be out here. He could easily be popped by the robots. This part's a bit annoying. How would this bus get all the way up here near the roof?
You have to iron those pants or are they wrinkle-free? Unlike you.
SpongeBob is a jerk to Barnacle Boy.
If we don't get this robot thing resolved, Shady Shoals will shut down.
And how would stopping the museum security system prevent that?
You see that vent on the other side of the museum?
He shouldn't because of how far away it is. I've been to a lot of museums, and I don't remember any being this small. I've seen children's museums bigger than this. This museum has cowboy clothes and artwork in the same room. The museum has tires and clam chowder on display. Was this spatula on display? Did we steal it? Why is this museum holding these old people captive? Belongings in the trash, I mean bold and brash, actually made it to the museum. I guess the museum employees are as easily impressed as the newscasters in Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire. Why is there a slide at the end of the museum? Where did these platforms fall out from?
Meow. Say, that's a good idea, Gary. I'll try that.
Look, I do think this game has good jokes in it. It's just that somewhat forced jokes are easier to find than you'd think. This platform isn't even solid.
Now go step in front of the lasers.
Nope. I could do that even if I wanted to. Not gonna lie, I completely forgot Mr. Krabs was here. And considering how many times I've played this game when I was a kid, that's probably not the best of signs.
The museum will finally be able to reopen.
And we're trusting her. Why? Attacking the TV changes the channel. I don't remember the Murmler having bottomless pits.
You shouldn't sneak up on Mermaid Man like that.
We didn't really sneak up on him. He was looking in different directions, including the one we came from.
It's up to you to shut it down and stop them!
Why are you talking so slowly? Funny shot, but where's this hook coming from? Doesn't this game already have evil dog robots? Also, the description says they fetch sponges and chase squirrels, but Sandy never encounters these guys. I may not like the episode Mermaid Man Barnacle Boy 4, but I know the invisible boatmobile looked much different than that. For someone who hates SpongeBob, Squidward sure seems to meet us a lot. We're not even looking for him.
Those two old coots sent me in to get updated with the Murmler computer.
Even though Squidward can't defend himself from the robots. Aren't these two supposed to be at a doctor's appointment? Or was that another joke that's not clear enough that it's a joke?
You did it! Now I can get some sleep.
What did the machines do that kept you awake anyway? Suddenly this game turned into the color dungeon from Link's Awakening DX. Why do the machines keep making that buzzer sound, deceiving you into thinking you're doing it wrong?
What do you need all that power for?
Why my foot bath?
I get the joke. Barnacle Boy's treating it like it was extremely urgent. But isn't Barnacle Boy supposed to be the smart one of the two? Licking metal is not a smart thing to do. Think of all the germs on that metal. Oh, hello, Murmler Computer. I don't remember you ever having a voice in the show. Like I said in my worst SpongeBob episodes list, I honestly think this meme is overused.
There's gold under that glass.
You can very clearly see that's a golden spatula. And you know what golden spatulas are.
My eyes are getting sweaty just looking at it.
This segment gave me a lot of agony as a kid. The ball gets launched at the exact angle it needed to be launched at.
You also cut the power to the Murmulair's VCS.
The Murmulair computer told us to push the buttons. Prawn, did they really need to make Prawn look like a Freddy Fish character?
What did Prawn do?
The worst thing you can imagine. He put all of Mermaid Man's white clothes in the washer with a red sock.
Everything I own turned pink. Pink!
That's right, kids. If your parents make a simple laundry mistake, that means they're out to get you. Hope that's worth this joke that barely even tries.
Are you still here?
You're welcome! I love this level, but I'm also somewhat upset that it's an imitation ice level instead of an actual ice level. Kinda like the episode Plankton's Old Chum, which is still fun, mind you.
I need to borrow your toothbrush again.
You've used it before?
SpongeBob was a jerk to Squidward.
I try and get some exercise to relax from all this robot mess.
Then you've come to the wrong place, because a fast-paced skiing area is no place to relax.
I will lose my marbles if I don't get some relaxation.
This leads to a good joke, but Squidward doesn't expect SpongeBob to take that literally.
I've got mine right here.
No, you don't.
I'll give you one for each slope you clear.
If that's him giving us these golden spatulas at the bottom of the slopes, he must be giving them to us telepathically. Who puts a sock on a Sandman?
Sure, if you fall down to the bottom of this pit. I suppose you could bungee down.
Which is it? Are you trying to help us, or do you want us to kill ourselves?
I've gone down this hill 100 times, usually rolling. Darn kids think it's funny to push me.
Where the heck are those kids' parents? Who puts a retirement home billboard on a ski slope? The frame rate in these sections is awful in the Switch version. I should have gotten the PS4 version when I had the chance. These slopes actually expect people to be able to jump like that. I'm surprised the people who made the ski slopes haven't been sued yet. Why doesn't the battle music play in the Sand Mountain enemy gauntlets anymore? If this is sand and not snow, how is this ground frozen? People are wearing winter coats on Sand Mountain.
I fly like the wind and float like a sea bee.
Sea bee, these ski slopes are actually awesome. Why would the people who designed these slopes install spikes? And what kids would build sandmen on the ski slopes where someone could crash into them? If they're gonna endanger themselves like that, then let the demolition of their sandmen be a lesson to them. These stickies are pretty much pointless since it's almost impossible to reach them in time, and you can get shiny objects pretty much anywhere. The trampoline wasn't facing in this direction, so how did it launch us in the other direction? Why do we have to crush these innocent people with a giant sandball? That is just horrible. I'm getting 5 cents for that.
Actually, I think that Patrick borrowed your equipment.
What? Who said he could do that?
I did.
SpongeBob is still a jerk to Squidward.
This day just doesn't seem to be getting any better.
It's still the same day?
Maybe that button on his back is a self-destruct.
Looks more like a sign. Even when it flips up, no button.
That hot goo could melt anything.
Except the fluoride robot.
I think I have fudge in my pants.
And then stomp on your children. And stomp on your children's children.
And then stomp on your children's children's children!
What are we going to do, Mr. Krabs?
We? Meaning you?
They just made that joke a minute ago with Plankton. That sounds nothing like Mr. Krabs' laugh.
An interesting area with many sights to see. For those that don't get hopelessly lost first.
Great, this game's aware of the problem with this level. Frankie decides to Mario Odyssey this tubulin. This platform falls in the exact direction where it would crush the robots. Famous Fly Slap.
Driving class isn't out here today, is it?
Will the schools even be open at a time like this? Sending people to school during a robot attack would put them in danger.
Do you think we'd have class out here just to hide from you?
I can see what Mrs. Puff's doing, but even if I was led to believe that my teacher took everyone but me on a camping trip, I'd still be pretty mad. Also, how would she be able to have driving tests in this place? There's no roads out here. And isn't this whole jig up as soon as the students tell SpongeBob, oh, we're not camping, we're having class out here. Even though it's obvious that these are actually students, the game still lists them as campers.
I'm trying to return 3 stone tikis to this pedestal so I can get to the kelp cave across that bridge. There could be customers in there.
Yeah, if they want to get themselves killed. Thank goodness they fixed the horrible darkness in this place, making it much easier to see. However, it's still the weakest level in the game because of the dreary color scheme. And this cave is still kind of frustrating. Who puts a bus stop in a cave? Well, I guess that answers my question about if Mrs. Puff could have driving tests all the way out here.
There!
What happened?
I gained the power to trim my nose hairs at super speed.
That joke would have been relatively harmless if the crystals weren't such a pain to get. Hope you appreciate the hardships we had to endure to help you. Also, you said your power was a secret. So why did you suddenly decide to tell us?
I'm always always happy to lend my services to my favorite superhero.
I thought you liked Mermaid Man more than Barnacle Boy. I do appreciate the attention to details making these look more like the kelp vines. This slide segment is still kinda annoying though.
Hey, this is mine!
It's as if the game's self-aware of this, which is kinda funny, but at the same time, Patrick still rewards you for getting the socks, including the ones he collects.
And it was actually fun exploring the kelp forest.
I mean, it wasn't horrible like it was in the original, but the dull colors and being somewhat hard to navigate can make it kinda annoying at times. I don't remember actually seeing the Dutchman's graveyard in the show.
But I'm not a shell scout.
Cell Scout.
It's these darn robots. They've thrown me off my own ship, they have.
Can they even touch you? You're a ghost. The Flying Dutchman relies on the same guy who disappointed him in Shanghai.
But if you do this, a golden spatula be your booty.
Just not the one I'm showing you. And someone was just brutally murdered in boiling acid. These mats aren't falling over so we can jump on them. I don't think that would make the lake drain that quickly. There's a horrible glitch that deceives you into thinking you're finished getting the spatula when you actually haven't. And for that I'm adding another 5 cents. I like this song, but the second half of it's not as awesome as the first half in my mind. The snakes are the most annoying enemies in the game because of their shields, combined with the slippery puddles they make. This end of the mast phases through the ground when it's landed. The music just turns off on this anchor.
There's one up there.
You saw it all the way up there? Guess those eyes of his aren't big just for show. Wow, we only play as Sandy for like 2 minutes at this part. Brought to you by the final act in Hercules. The Flying Dutchman relies on us to do his work instead of simply zapping the robots off the ships. Really? They were that lazy to not even show the robot ship being destroyed? At least we now have a lazy design choice that this game shares with the original version. Also, didn't the Dutchman's ship have a green glow around it?
But now that I look at it, I think I'll keep this golden spatula.
Villain refuses end of the bargain cliche.
It's so nice and shiny.
Isn't greed what you got on Mr. Krabs' case for Born Again Krabs? This just makes you look like a hypocrite.
Never make a deal with a ghost.
That's Ghostess.
Deals don't mean anything to me.
Except the one you made in Shanghai.
Except for that great deal I got on a butter churn back in 1873.
This franchise likes to play with the Dutchman's age. This says he's lived in the 1800s, but in SpongeBob vs. the Big One, he said he dated Mr. Krabs and Sally, implying he lived in the 1900s. Fire nose blowing.
I'll have you know this jacket has been cleaned twice.
You wanted it dirty in Shanghai, and how many times do I have to bring up that episode?
It looks like my ship.
At least until it pops. This is the best world in the entire game.
Gary, what are you doing here?
You didn't notice Gary right in front of you when I'm pretty sure he's still in your eyesight. And yes, I know I'm sending dream logic now, but CinemaSins would have done the same. The mustache goes over his nose.
You mean each dream bubble has a golden spatula in it?
Or 2. And now I'm going to take off even more sins for this game's soundtrack. This game decides to be a trippy Mario 64 ROM hack. The bouncing ball segment is somewhat annoying, especially if you don't do it right, you have to climb these spiked blocks again. If you can take golden spatulas out of SpongeBob's dream, I'm pretty sure these dreams are still sendable. This slide segment is just so epic. Did they seriously just show poop in a kid's game? I guess we should be thankful this isn't Crash Bandicoot, otherwise it would be pretty much impossible to get the gem without dying.
Who puts challenges in their own dreams?
Even as someone setting a dream, I'm still going to call Plankton's statement though. We can't control what we dream of.
Squirrels? We're tough like that.
I don't think there are that many squirrels that are as tough as you.
It'll make your head spin faster than a horny toad.
That's disgusting. Wow, these cows are jerks. Also, I don't think 3 balloons are enough to support the weight of these 2,000-pound cows. I really wanted to take off sins for this beautiful story design, but then they had to ruin it with more poop.
For heaven's sake, boy, cover your ears.
I can't hear any music aside from the dream music, which I think is actually pretty awesome. Or is the SpongeBob's dream music actually coming from Squidward? If so, then he sounds like he got better.
Mr. Krabs? What are you doing in Squidward's dream?
That's actually a really good question. I wish that we could talk to Squidward and Mr. Krabs actually in their respective dreams, instead of having it be the other way around. Seriously, what gives?
When you get there, try to wake him up.
I'd be glad to if it were possible. I'm pretty sure that would go 2 notes lower instead of 1 note. Squidward isn't at all fazed by SpongeBob on his nose. Just like how Mr. Krabs was in Squidward's dream, Why is Squidward in Mr. Krabs' dream?
It's like a shiny golden toothpick that holds together the bun of...
I've never seen Krabby Patties ever be served with those. I've seen real sandwiches served with those, but not Krabby Patties. They included unused content from the original, but all the formerly unused content's multiplayer exclusive. At least it's not entirely false advertising. It's still here, but it's still maddening. Robo Squidward's pretty much just an enemy gauntlet anyway. And it goes on forever. Those clarinet notes actually get repetitive.
A robot SpongeBob!
Why didn't you see it moments ago?
You're behind all this, aren't you?
You've known that since your second conversation with Plankton in the final hub area.
I registered the name, so don't even think of ripping me off.
Viacom!
They're obeying me.
This twist had no build-up.
I knew I shouldn't have made a copy of myself.
We were told they didn't obey because you didn't pull the lever. Now we're told it's because you intentionally made a copy of yourself? The chump bucket wasn't this huge.
Let's act like that.
Does everything Robo SpongeBob says attack? I thought robots couldn't laugh. Remember Crabborg? SpongeBob survives this.
You don'ts destroy my beautiful bride. We were supposed to get married next week.
Pointless gay joke. Oh no. Anchor arms. Even though they turn out to be useless. The Bubble Bowl is zap-proof. The Duplicatotron summons these Robo-Planktons to antagonize each other, but won't stop them from destroying the town. Plankton's bigger than normal. The theater charges too much. Why is Plankton allowing the Krusty Krab during this song? Unlike other Pokemon intros, this one's just two Pokemon fighting. Even Yellow had more cinematics. Guess Jigglypuff was absent from LeafGreen. Gengar smacks Nidorino without even touching it. Nidorino shouldn't affect Gengar with whatever this move is. This game's mascot is its starter, practically choosing your starter for you. And cue the creep jokes people will make without much context. Why does Kanto have so many spiky-haired people? Not all Japanese people have spiky hair. Oak forgot his own grandson's name. There's no clock system. Where the heck were you? You weren't anywhere in Pallet Town. Professor Oak has been listening to the Nutcracker Chinese dance a lot. Why does he have only 3 Pokemon left? Oak lets a stranger choose a Pokemon before his own grandson. For newcomers, this first tutorial is understandable, but for veterans, it's annoying. Tackle is weaker than Scratch and Pound. Almost like they didn't want you to choose Squirtle. Some of these songs are remixes of kitty songs, making you feel like a little baby. Your head's bigger than these windows. How does the receptionist know we came to pick up Oak's parcel? How does he know we'll deliver the package as planned? How is this place north of here private property? And how do you expect to stop people from coming from Route 2? Backtracking. I'm sure we could climb ledges by grabbing them and pulling yourself up. Blue tells us not to ask Daisy for a map, inadvertently giving you ideas. But I doubt I'll need it considering how easy Kanto is to memorize since it's in 5 generations. How is it lazy to ask someone to run an errand? In Gen 1, Charmander choosers were dead since their Pokemon don't do much damage to Brock. Your only way to be super effective was to teach Nidoran Double Kick at level 43. Now they learned earlier, Mankey's found earlier, and Charmander gets Metal Claw, so I'll take off 3 sins. Blue ambushes you several times, so if you didn't save right before and have to stop playing right now, you must finish the battle before you can save. Get used to it. If we shouldn't go to the Pokemon League because we have no badges, why are you here? They couldn't even have the item grab jingle. I know the originals had the level and item jingles the other way around, but here they have the right level up jingle, so why can't they have both? Metapods learning nothing but Harden can make them annoying to fight physically. Why can't they keep their moves from their previous evolved forms like we can? The first normal required trainer in the entire Pokemon franchise comes near the end of Viridian Forest. Sammy says we're good just because we beat a level 9 Weedle. Jigglypuff's singing doesn't put you to sleep. Instead you're like, cool song bro. I shouldn't break the news that Aerodactyl's not Dragon. This guy's a huge jerk. Glad saying take you to the top made me think he'd take us straight to Brock. Do they expect kids to understand these kinds of sayings? If by 10,000 light years you mean 2 steps, then sure, let's go with that. Pewter Gym has more ground types than Rock. Granted only 1 more, but Liam should have used a fossil Pokemon. Onyx looks so much stronger than it actually is. This bothered me ever since I found out its base stat total. No, I didn't look at you. I'm facing to your right. Sand Attack is one of many moves that makes your attack keep missing. About 5 moves are dedicated to this, so I'll give 5 sins. No, we didn't see one Viridian Forest. The only required bug catcher there was named Sammy. Heck, none of the bug catchers were named Colton. Here's Ben, the kid that comes up to you and randomly says he likes shorts. We can't fight youngsters, the most basic trainer class, until now. The Pokédex says that Charmeleon tears its fallen victims to shreds. What were they thinking when they wrote that? Is Calvin infatuated with shorts? He's crazier than youngster Ben. I didn't touch you, you came up to me. Jigglypuff is one of the most worthless Pokemon in Kanto because its stats stink even after it evolves. What is attractive its own ability but Leech Seed doesn't? This man should consider himself lucky. At least he's not living in the late 2010s where you have to hear about Donald Trump every day. Mudsport reduces electricity's power, but most Pokemon that learn are ground types, which are immune to electric moves, so what's the point? Ken thinks a child is with Team Rocket. Iris expects her friends to find her in a cave. Rare candies are too good to be true. If you use them at the wrong time, you don't get enough stat boosts. The only Steel type before the postgame couldn't learn any Steel attacks until Generation 4. Most creative design ever! Paris' sprite creeps me out. Team Rocket's battle theme is just a normal trainer battle theme. They should have composed a new one. Even using the Aqua and Magma theme would be better. Bellsprout's FireRed Pokédex actually thinks his Spud looks like a human face. We are stealing the Clefairy's precious Moonstone. Well geez, I never asked to take one of your fossils. All I asked was to move them. Who the heck has them blocking the way? I wish these moves were fighting instead of normal. Of course you'll see us. You're facing each other. Well, there goes your way back home. Now you can't return for an hour. What greedy scumbag charges $1 million for a bike? All this Abra knows is teleport, making it a joke. Abra can use telekinesis even when sleeping. Yeah, right, Pokédex, you liar. Wouldn't it be more challenging to beat the Nugget Bridge trainers in a row? I know that sounds cheap, but they're not even hard. Yeah, announce that you're in Team Rocket in public. Game won't let you join them even if you want to. Not that I'd want to join their stupid gang anyway. Abra is annoying to catch because it flees on the first turn. Of course Youngster Joey's here, and even uses a Rattata, convincing everyone to make that stupid joke that's gotten old ever since 2013. Kelsey just randomly says, "Hi, my boyfriend is cool." People will think she's crazy. You're no longer jealous of Bill's collection because you lost a Pokemon battle. If Bill was combined with Clefairy, why isn't he a Clefairy human hybrid? We cured Bill! Now where's the Clefairy he was combined with? What? That's exactly why I came to your place. Some genius you are. Misty is too young to be hot. Like most trainers in Kanto, both her Pokemon are the same evolution line. That's unimpressive for a gym leader. There's no badge jingle when you beat most gym leaders. Clyde says you and him make a great team even though veterans don't need him. Instead of making off with the team like a smart thief, this grunt sticks around waiting for someone to stop him. He thinks you'll believe he's innocent when he's dressed like a criminal. You ungrateful jerk! You told me to get back to Dig TM, then decided to just get a Diglett? Fine, if you won't take it back, I'll just keep this TM. This stupid guard won't let you pass just because he's thirsty. Even if that's not drool, but nectar used to attract prey, it's still disgusting. Jeff sees you ignoring him and assumes you want to talk to him. Why do I have to constantly recharge the Versus Seeker? Oak's some kind of psychic. Good or bad depending on the trainer. You know, for getting Drowsy and Chandelure's Pokédex entries. Trading Spearow for Farfetch is a terrible trade since Farfetch doesn't evolve. I know Farfetch was made to teach him all about patience, but I argue it against that in my least favorite Pokemon list. Is this chairman infatuated with his Rapidash? He even wants to hug it even though it's on fire. Your Pikachu is twice as cute as what one? I don't see any others. This Machop never flattens the land enough for the building these guys want to build. This deck has no security check. This ship was the inspiration for the worst episode of Pokemon Season 1, and possibly the worst episode of the show. Your only friends are your Pokemon? That's literally sad. To Gentleman Arthur's credit, I'd be mad if someone barged into my room, but that's what you get for not locking your door. Or does this good-for-nothing ship not have locks? I'm not the waiter, are you crazy? Status inflictions kick in at inconvenient times. Since they're more likely to affect you than the opponent, here's 5 sins. Kanto's full of nincompoops, but Anne takes the cake. Her wide variety of Pokemon around the world are just a Pidgey and a Nidoran. And after you win, she tells you to heal her Pokemon for her. How stupid is she? Kanto might set a record for least intelligent population. Better remind myself to send myself later for it, that's racist. Now we just stole someone's Brick Break TM. Does this undercover police agent blow his cover to everyone he talks to? Who throws away hyper potions? Am I the only one who feels weird looking at tentacles? The red dots look like their eyes, but they have eyes at the bottom of their body. No, I don't know what they say about sailors and battling. Icicles are stronger than that. Of course sailors have Pokemon. Why would being a sailor mean you can't? If people threw away berries, they must have gone bad. If HMs have infinite use, why make them unforgettable until later? We don't want to waste move slots on useless moves for too long. You mean the party we were invited to is already over? Oh come on, that would have been awesome. Also, don't be so sarcastic with me. If the captain gets seasick easily, he shouldn't be the captain. This is your last chance to get everything on the SSN. Despite being only 10, we somehow know that rubbing his back will ease his sickness a bit. 22 seconds of ship pulling out. Is Blue staying on the ship? Guess we're rid of him for a whole year. Or at least an hour. I hate arena trap. I know that's a spin, but Magicup's back sprite looks like his teeth are clenched. Deforestation. The museum owners make it easy to sneak into the back of the museum. This guy gets overused sneaking through the back pretty fast. How does a person learn to eat dreams? Yeah, win, lose, or draw, except for the fact that a draw cheaply counts as a loss. Guess who plays Pokemon every day? Then he grew up and had a son named Misha who became a meme-worthy bad singer. Braxton's mouth is so small. Clyde says flying types are bird types. You have to hit the correct 2 switches in a row in this luck-based gym. But since they changed it to have the switches next to each other, only give 1 sin. Surge, who calls Pikachu a baby Pokemon, uses one in battle. I thought his strategy was to make Pikachu evolve as soon as you catch it. How does Beedrill sting without killing itself? 2 of Connor's super bug Pokemon are an unevolved Caterpie and a Weedle. What a twit. Game thinks kids will know what patronize means. Who holds a disc on a Pokemon's head? No wonder they break after 1 use. Rock Tunnel is long and annoying. All Cubone wore their dead mother's skull helmets, but that means that all Cubone's mothers died. How did that happen? Discount Homer Simpson. How am I not showing respect? By coming through this cave? Follow Me is completely useless in single battles. And here's the most overrated song in the whole franchise. Is it even respectful to have a battle in a cemetery? Julia is a sore loser. If you didn't want us to be mean to your Clefairy, don't challenge us. Here's why it's dumb to change Gambler to Gamer. Rich being a rambling gaming dude means nothing now, since he originally said gambling, which I won't ruin it. But my point still stands. Kids won't even know what gambling is. Muck's design is just a bigger Grimer. Its name spelled backwards inspired one of the most overused Pokemon jokes people make. How does losing a Pokemon battle mean you should give up on Pokemon? Why do these evil bikers have the good guy encounter theme? Death threats. It takes 3 hours to get your first fire Pokemon unless you chose Charmander. FireRed players get Arcanine, which is stronger than its LeafGreen version Ninetales. Ninetales still rocks though. Growlithe is annoying because it uses Roar to end the battle. If only sleeping Pokemon can hear the Pokeflute, I must be a sleeping Pokemon too. How old is this guy to say Misty's cute? She's like 12! They don't tell us what drinks we already gave this kid without having to buy them. Game thinks we'll know that talking to this old lady is required of beating the game. This always ticked me off. Why do they let you steal this guy's Eevee even though they prohibit you from stealing Pokemon? This stupid grunt thinks we're his chief. Worst secret keeper ever. Porygon is way too expensive than FireRed. No wonder Blue's always ahead of you. Are you saying we can't take a little break? It's not like becoming champion will save the world. This man expects you not to tell anyone that Team Rocket owns this place. How does no one suspect that Rocket Game Corner is run by them? This team makes Team Skull look competent. Once you beat this grunt, he leaves this poster unguarded. Switch behind the poster cliche. Well, it all started when I got this game for Christmas. I turned it on, talked to Professor Oak, moved into Pallet Town.
2 hours later.
And then I was able to get in because one of your members is an idiot. Here's the infamous, oh no, I dropped the lift key line, but I'm more concerned that this incompetent moron can't just pick it back up. Even Giovanni has a normal trainer theme. Kangaskhan's always female, but it does not look female. And it barely even looks like a kangaroo. Why did Giovanni leave the self-scope for us? What were they thinking when they made this creepy old man? This is worth 5 sins. Why are only girls allowed? That's incredibly sexist. And with this sexist rule, how do they expect boys to get every badge? Bulbasaur can no longer stand on its hind legs when it evolves. Not that it matters, this has never stood on them anyway. Discount normal SpongeBob from the Not Normal episode. There are better places to hide than in an area over a fence that people can look over. Besides, why is this woman hiding anyway? Does no one ever leave her alone? I know these chillers talk like this because they're being possessed, but possessed people don't talk stupid and unthreatening like this. Ghost Pokemon cut their health to use Curse, but just switching out your Pokemon after renders the opponent's sacrifice worthless. Paula was so busy panicking that she didn't know where the ghost is after we beat it right in front of her. They couldn't even say give me your soul, but they could have a perverted 70-year-old man? How did they get past Marowak's ghost? Riding up Cycling Road is annoying. Yes, all Pokemon are unique, except Mothim, Amoonguss, Farfetch'd. Jacob claims this random patch of grass is his turf like he's stingy from Lazy Town. We get the move Return, even though the move Frustration looks much cooler. Game Freak, do you want us to be nice to our Pokemon or not? Your marriage is completely based off whether or not you win a Pokemon battle. Gosh, you're a terrible girlfriend. I hate this game of chance. You waste Pokeballs catching Magikarps and hope that one's big enough. Lucas should be careful with these wires. He looks like he's going wild with them and he could easily electrocute people. All they did to make Electrode was give Voltorb a mouth and flip its colors. His bird cage is empty. What the heck is Hitmonlee supposed to be? Some kind of mutant chicken leg? I feel your pain, Ron. I was in your position years ago. Now they're saying that someone succeeded in stealing a kid's Pokemon. That's terrible. Also, what are the odds that the kid he robbed had the same Pokemon that bikers use? All 3 of the Pokemon Kindergarten trades are from the Oddish line. Why couldn't Edwin have members from all 4 normal flying families in this game? That's Tethys. Who makes a zoo but doesn't charge anyone? These Safari Zone employees nicknamed their warden Slowpoke. How have they not been fired yet? The Safari Zone is mandatory since you get Surf and Strength here. In Gen 1, it was possible to run out of ways to get money, literally ruining your chances since it requires money. Here, the Versus Secret gives no limit to how much money you can get total, fixing this problem, and I'm gonna take off 4 sins! Lazily reusing the evolution theme. These stupid Safari Balls make the Safari Zone's catching mechanics even more luck-based than most captures since you can't weaken Pokemon. Sure, you can throw rocks, but that guarantees that they'll flee, especially Kangaskhan. When Paris evolves, its mushroom corrupts its brain permanently. Why would they do that? How did the warden even lose his false teeth? Did he not feel them fall out? Or did they kick him out for using up all his steps and not care that he lost his teeth or the fact that he's the warden? I hate the step limit. Seriously, look how close we are. The house has access by going counterclockwise around the Safari Zone's border hasn't been found. We know how HMs work. We wouldn't be here if we didn't. I didn't use an action replay. Here you go, Mr. Warden. I bet you'll be glad to have your teeth back and then use them without washing them after they've been laying on the ground all day, probably chewed on by some Pokemon. This poison gym uses more psychic types than poison types. Why are you bringing up sleep moves? You have none. This inconsiderate guard hogs all your tea. And he still has enough for the others. Sure, let's give him move and type the same name. Guard who sleeps on the job cliche. Though, when I think about it, why am I even surprised? This is Team Rocket we're talking about. What's the juggler doing here? Is he here to entertain Team Rocket as they take over? Mr. Mime's name was lazily made, and there can be female Mr. Mimes too. We never betrayed you, you idiot. We were never on your side. The game made me ask my parents about the Tixie branch, waiting for the game to explain it anyways after you beat Taylor, being some Russian no man's land. Also, Tixie branch. Didn't you say a world of pain last time? This is one repetitive crime leader. Nidoqueen and Nidoking can't breed with each other. What the heck? This is why both Nidoran should have been the same Pokemon and not existed until Generation 4 when gender differences came. Even the evil mastermind gives back Silph Code just for losing a Pokemon battle. Then again, this is the same genius who still hasn't fired Jesse and James in the show. The only Master Ball. Aside from the ones that Professor Elm, Archie, Maxie, Egan, Professor Crane, Cyrus, Professor Juniper, this one Shades guy, Chorus, the Pokemon Factory President, Gladion, and every Pokemon Lottery Corner owned. Ryu? Is that you? The Karate King's named Kyle, not Koichi. How did Game Freak mess that up? Did they even check? Slowbro evolves from Slowpoke from having his tail bit by Shelter, which is why I don't need one to evolve my Slowpoke. Also, I feel bad for Shelter since it can't control where it goes anymore. It eats Slowbro scraps. I don't want to think about how something biting its tail does that. When have Pokemon ever taken on their trainer's appearance? Slowbro's obese body can fit inside that shelter. Sabrina foresaw the Johto player's arrival 3 years in advance but couldn't foresee that she'd lose this fight. Everyone has psychic power. Good thing to teach kids! There's no teleportation pad that lets you leave instantly. Why can't we challenge gym trainers after beating their leader? Goldeen is the Sea Queen while its evolution Sea King is the King. That's sexist. Why is Lil such an insufferable coward? Ian says that Lil needs to lose weight. She looks fit to me. I hate Protect. How does a battle get you warmed up for the water? Sorry David, you can't dive for Pokemon unless you're in Hoenn, or playing Shadows of Almia or Guardian Signs. Darren has a point. Why are all these swimmers swimming but we have to ride our Pokemon? How are the Seafoam Islands, which have tiny beaches and freezing caves, a good getaway? Psyduck only gets access to Psychic type moves if it has a bad headache? No, that's a lie. I know Kanto has lazy designs, but an ordinary seal that's even named Seal. Cute design though. How can you fly to the middle of some random island but we can't? Showing off. The scientist says it takes a while to revive fossils, yet once you leave and re-enter, he's already done. And he needs to learn the word patience. There's something about this song I dislike. I hate this mechanic. Facing trainers shouldn't be a punishment since you get good experience and money. Granted, you can talk to them to fight them anyways, but still. Quinn's no longer a thief, yet his trainer class is still burglar. Tentacruel doesn't have 80 tentacles? That looks more like 12 or 14. Exeggutor lost 3 of its heads upon evolving. Did they fade from existence? This irresponsible father sends his 7-year-old daughter to the forest unsupervised. Hoenn's Move Maniac was better since he asked for heart scales which were much cheaper than 2 tiny mushrooms or 1 big mushroom. Just give him the tiny mushrooms since the big one's 10 times as expensive. Giving him the big one's a huge waste. The sprite limitations make this old woman look younger than she actually is. This old woman could easily get out. She's not completely surrounded. How does being from Kanto mean we should be with you? I thought Team Aqua and Magma had low varieties of Pokemon, but the bikers, even their leader Paxton, only use 2 Pokemon lines. Not a single person in the most populated of the 70 islands likes loud music or noisy games. If you think Sabrina's beautiful now, just wait until the Johto remakes. I wish Violet had all 3 Bulbasaur evolutions instead of Bulbasaur and 2 Ivysaur. You saw Lost Cell's father before, but you withhold the meteorite you were supposed to deliver until you saved Lost Cell. What the heck kind of creature is Lickitung supposed to be? What were they thinking when they made it completely possible to avoid this puzzle? How does Jason make music with a Rhyhorn? It's awesome that Giovanni's the leader here, even if I was a stupid kid for spoiling it for myself. But why does the Pokemon League allow him to be one? Did he hide his face and did they not find that suspicious? Giovanni's the greatest trainer after we beat him twice already. Why is Giovanni's Rhydon now a Rhyhorn? Did they want to hide the fact that Rhydon has a different sprite that it doesn't Hoenn until the final fight and leave us in suspense or something? I know why a Piranha evolves into a shark, but how in a million years does a Hamstring thing evolve into some weird dinosaur? Your loss is embarrassing enough to leave people with no way of getting every that. While that didn't stop you when Blue and the Victory Road trainers beat you. This is level 53 Blastoise still knows Water Gun. How does losing make you ready? If anything, it means I'm more ready than you. I get he's an overconfident jerk, but he's one with no common sense. Victory Road houses trainers with Charizard and Blastoise, but no Venusaur? This shop doesn't sell Max Revive. Even with Jinx's not as creepy redesign, it's still creepy. Bruno has 2 Onyxes. That's a waste of space when Onyx isn't even a fighting type. Agatha is a jerk to Oak. Agatha's a ghost type user, but all of her Pokemon are poison types. Maybe that's why the original deck should have had more ghost Pokemon. Lance is much cockier than I remember him being in the Johto games. I know Gyarados is water flying because back then Water Dragon would have no weakness, but that didn't stop Sableye and Electros. Besides, why not be mono water? Being part flying makes no sense. Also, its back sprite is bizarre. Do they have to turn Dragonair into Ord from Dragon Tales and Cheezosaurus Rex morphed together? You're not the strongest trainer in the world, just in Kanto. This final battle is awesome. With Blue's powerful Pokemon, the intense music, and finally getting to punish this brat, I better take off 4 sins. Yikes, that's a creepy Blastoise sprite. And here begins one of the most fun Pokemon after games. These Team Rocket adults discuss their plan in public, and they even blurt out one of the passwords instead of whispering it. Because that'll work. Making kids buy a Braille book. All Pokemon that can reproduce do so by laying eggs, even mammal Pokemon. This fat kid made a slushie with the dirty ice found in Icefall Cave. It's fun exploring this cave, but it's skippable if you have a level 41 Sea King. Something tells me that I shouldn't tell Lorelei that I've caught some Pokemon here. Would it kill her to put up a sign or something? This moment made Lorelei one of my favorite Elite Four members, so why couldn't this be a multi-battle teaming up with her? Blue still thinks he's better than you even after you destroyed him. Now the satisfaction of dethroning him means nothing. This makes me mad enough to give 10 cents. They don't tell you if this lady wants to see a Heracross or take it from you. She just wants to see it, but she's not specific enough. Joanna, a bug lover, uses Snubbull. What the heck? The Johto Pokemon on these islands are way too low level to be useful now. Dahlia thinks we don't know how to breathe properly for some reason. Here's Altering Cave, which is normally useless. If you want to sell the e-reader so badly, why can't they tell us that it's needed to get rare Pokemon here? I never knew steel was cuttable. The Lost Cave's fine once you know the pattern, but they barely give you any hints and no indication of what to do to get each item. This is the only way to even see any Hoenn Pokemon without training. Horrible amount of wasted potential. Might as well have been a Gen 2 game. Calm down, Selfie. What makes you think we're here to hurt you? If you take 250 steps before showing her the Pokemon she wants, she won't give you the item she promised, despite the nearest PC being more steps than that. What were they smoking? If Milo believes the beak's the bird's best part, shouldn't he use Fearow and not Pidgeotto? Game expects us to know what the heck the down of a bird is. Couldn't they pick a sadder theme for the Memorial Pillar? It takes until an after game to even see your first Dark Pokemon. Yeah, the next admin outranks you, but only by like 2 levels. Lucky that Gideon didn't sell a Sapphire in the time it took to get here. Why should we give up? We just beat you. Not many people come out here, then how do you explain all the trainers out here? Because you beat her, Manline assumes you're kind to your Pokemon. Giving John Golduck while Eve has Psyduck? That's sexist. Unless the level 100 Pokemon is fighting one that's level 2. First Eevee, now they deliberately have us steal this Lucky Punch. Don't you mean multiple unknowns sleep in here? A newly hatched Togepi is already level 5. I hate roaming legendaries. No. This outside image shows that Cerulean Cave didn't have that creepy mist before I came in here. I couldn't complain about Mewtwo's catch range if it didn't have Recover. Why does it have 2 necks? Instead of giving Bruno a hit on top, they lazily evolved both Onyxes. Agatha now uses Mischievous, so it's more believable that she's a Ghost user, but she still has more poison than Ghost. Maybe that's why they should have used one Pokemon. Even Shedinja would satisfy me. We're the champion again! At least until we re-enter the league and have to conquer it all over again.